So our guy gets straight up yoinked from his world and dumped into a classic fantasy land, right into the icy grip of Tesla, where swords clash and magic hangs in the air. He remembers waking up in this gigantic white room, utterly clueless, like the world had blindsided him and no one told him why. Ro got boxed in by the entire stadium, packed with people just as clueless as him. Yep, it was a full-blown major yikes situation. People around him start losing it, screaming, crying, panicking like it's a textbook panic attack. But listen, when he screams, it actually calms him down and clears his head, like his brain is built different for real. Right as he's still trying to get his bearings, bam, his body seizes up, and from the neck down he can't move a single muscle like some nasty debuff just got slapped onto him. Then this giant Zeus-looking weirdo materializes out of thin air and declares, "All right, nerds, every single one of you is going to Tesla now." That voice is literally booming inside his skull like it's got divine volume, so yeah, this dude's either a straight-up god or one of those ridiculously op beings. Out of nowhere, a holographic window snaps right in front of his face like a game menu, then a 2-hour countdown starts burning down. Dude, you're like 8, go make some friends, do whatever you want, because then you're just gonna vanish. The second the god is gone, our boy snaps back, moving again like he's been freed from chains. They're all just frozen on the spot like, wait, did that really just happen? Our MC is staring at the hole like it's about to bite back, then he snaps, "All right, get acquainted, command." He's stuck in this tiny group, and the silence is so thick and awkward you could slice it with a knife. Then, right at the last second, this other guy steps in and demands, "All right, we're introducing ourselves now." And get this, each one snaps to the sound of the other's voices, and turns out they're all from the same online gaming circle. They fire up the whole vibe and start calling each other by their gamer tags, Canon, Elfman, and RMC, who everybody knew as Bishop. Woda, Aka, Rick, and Love gets absolutely annihilated for it, roasted so hard you can practically hear the smoke. The vibes are weirdly calm, like, how can they be chilling after getting kidnapped by a god? Masa slams his finger at the timer on their screens and everyone snaps to attention, because they've got under 2 hours to crack this. They suddenly clock it, this game is really a character creator and the clock is already ticking down. Tanapon, the guy, rips the UI apart fast, avatar, abilities, items, then stares at that giant reincarnate button like, nope, don't press that yet. Yeah, they've basically got time to fully shape who they are before they get dropped into this brand new world. The whole squad goes stone cold serious. Masa throws out the idea to team up like they used to in that old MMORPG. Come on, bring your age list. Turns out they're part of this elite, high-ranking clan called the Nine of Dawn. These aren't some random nobodies. Something feels wildly wrong. Canon, our girl, stares everyone down and calls out how weirdly calm they all are, while Masa, usually glued to caution, is acting way too casual about this whole reincarnation mess. A boy Bishop nods, yet the whole crowd stays calm, and that no panic vibe is downright suspicious. They all just swallowed their fate like it was nothing, no questions, no fight, major red flag. Bishop clenched his paranoia for one breath, then shoved it aside and dove straight into the character creation window. He checks his sheet and realizes he's sitting on only 100 stat points, barely anything, and he knows he's got to lock in on just 1 or 2 things. The ability descriptions are so vague they might as well be trolling you, just a bunch of random weapon categories slapped together with zero clarity. He figures if you want to become a real swordsman, you've got to pour every point into sword skills, no room to dabble in everything else. Their investigation blows the case wide open. This crowd isn't just local, it's international, yet somehow everyone understands everyone perfectly. Masa hits you with a massive brain moment and blurts, "Hold up, what language are we even speaking?" The whole crew snaps at once, everybody loses it together. Auto-translate is on, baby. So yeah, this isn't just some players from the same game, it's a total random bunch pulled from nowhere. This god's power is straight up unreal. Woda drags them straight back to the main quest, build your character right now. Masa pushes for a perfectly balanced party, tanks up front, DPS tearing through enemies and healers holding the line, all of it. They jump straight into assigning roles on the spot. Canon wastes zero time and calls dibs on being an elfman. Well, the name basically steals the show by itself. But our boy Bishop starts tearing the plan apart. What if they get separated? With only a specialized build, he'd be useless all on his own. He paints a picture. Now imagine the tank can't keep aggro and one goblin starts beating the healer straight in the face. Game over, man. Masa instantly gets pissed. Utrina's out here calling him a trash tier tank, but Bishop steps in and snaps him out of it, saying an all-rounder backup is the smart move. He finally shuts them down and wins the argument. He's not chasing some unbeatable hero spotlight, he's just trying to stay alive. He's not playing hero, he's scrambling to save himself, a full-on realist. So he locks in his build, an all-around quarter angel race with stats that stay perfectly balanced across the board. The second he seals it, everyone starts glowing and vanishing, then the countdown hits 0 and the time's up. Masa fires up the ranks and shouts for them to strike down the reincarnate. Then he orders them to choose Tranquista Castle as their spawn point. Bishop's gut drops, alarm bells scream in his head. How in the world would Masa know the perfect spawn spot without a single clue? This whole thing reeks of a setup. Masa is moving like he's seen the playbook from the inside. Bishop scans the location description, and it's nothing but bland, generic fantasy filler, yet this is exactly when dread starts crawling over his skin. Then it hits, everything clicks into place like a switch flips. Even their calm faces suddenly make sense because this isn't just a situation, it's a piece of something bigger, stranger, and way more unsettling. He finally sees it, everyone's getting hurt like helpless sheep, and Masa is the one pulling the strings like a shepherd dog. Panicking, he frantically tears through his abilities, only to discover a hidden skill he never chose, one God forced into him. His friends' bodies start glowing, and right now, they're about to break out and leave. Everyone's staring at him like, dude, what's taking you so long? Bishop makes a split-second call, he follows his gut, no questions, and then he blurts, sorry guys, I can't go with you. He shoots an apology, then slips out fast. Masa is yelling his name as he disappears into a blinding flash of light. A system message flashed and basically screamed, mental manipulation confirmed, holy crap, he was right. Then the subject broke free, busted out successfully, and the special bonus dropped like a victory bell. Let's go because his paranoia paid off big time. Godlike eye glares down as the last people get ice-kicked. Then like a snap of fate, they all disappear. Bishop jolts awake alone, deep in the middle of the forest. He's totally confused because he spawned in a village, but hey, he's alive and he's finally free. He charges straight toward the blazing light in the distance. He crested the cliff and stared down at a sprawling city spread out beneath him. This is it, this is the ice guy, and right now it's Tesla time. His wild adventure kicks off right at a small village gate. He strides in, finally breathing easy because there aren't any guards here to grill him. The whole place feels like a medieval fair, and he's straight up freaking out with geeky joy. Since he looks exactly like a normal human, he slides right into the crowd with zero suspicion. Then boom, he spots a girl with animal ears, a straight-up beast human, and his heartbeat starts screaming, so he forces himself to calm down and play it cool. He reaches for his status screen, and it just won't open. He realizes he'll have to crank up his special eye skills to read the stats now. First things first, learn magic, so he spots a random guy and demands directions to a magic bookshop. The guy jabs a finger at the general store and tells him, it's over there. He still remembers spotting magic books in the character creation menu, and that's how he knows they're the real deal. He's convinced that the starter cash he snagged is plenty to grab himself a handful of spells. The shop is jam-packed with every kind of fantasy treasure you can imagine, and it's all calling your name. The shopkeeper beams at him, then sizes up this huge, burly dude like trouble just walked in. The boy who's calling himself Rook straight up demands magic books. The owner drops a massive mountain of them onto the table like it's no big deal. They're just basic elemental ball spells, but good news, the universal translator skill is still online, so we can read every single one of them. He rushes over, checks the water bowl first, then throws a quick look at the fire bowl. The moment he taps the light magic book, bam, an insane static shock detonates through him, and the owner just shrugs, saying it happens because he's got a freak high affinity for light magic. That lightbulb book costs 2 gold coins, way beyond what he can afford. The shopkeeper spots him instantly as a total greenhorn and starts roasting him for laughs. But the guy is sweet as can be, slaps a beginner-tier lantern spellbook in his hands for just 2 silver coins, what a steal. Rook sharp talks his way through the deal, snagging a knife and even a towel thrown in, and just like that, his negotiation skill levels up. He storms out of the shop after getting it confirmed, he can actually communicate, he understands the currency, and he's got a path to learn magic. Solid start, no doubt. Up next, he's heading straight for the Adventurers Guild, a giant building towering over everything. He's absolutely freaking out, sneaking a look inside like a shy kid on the first day of school. The receptionist beams at him and guides him through every step so he can sign up. He signs it as Rook, then decides to keep his game and keep Bishop's name hidden too, just in case his old crew comes hunting for him. He gets the full rundown on the guild rules rankings from F all the way to SSS, and they lay down the hammer. Absolutely no PvP. They shove a wooden F-rank card into his hands. Just like that, he's officially a trainee. The receptionist leans in and urges him to grab 2 fresh newbie quests from a dungeon right nearby. It's a shallow dungeon, tailor-made for a brand new level 1 player to dive in and start leveling up fast. But first, he needs a place to crash, so he ducks into an inn, and the second he walks in, he gets completely derailed by the cute Kamina mommy at the front desk. My man is down bad, like the dog ears are his weakness. He drops his 6 silver coins and grills her about dinner, just so he can keep the conversation going with her. His tail starts wagging and he's instantly glued to it, totally mesmerized. He storms up to his second-floor room. The N is super simple, just paper shoved in as the window. The room is so small it feels like it's shrinking around them. But hey, it's a bed, so he just faceplants onto the straw mattress. He pauses for a second because that day was pure chaos, like his life just rode the wildest roller coaster ever. He blinked out of a barren white void, slammed into a character creator, and then, bam, landed in a real fantasy world. He's finally relieved, no more pretending everything's fine. Now he has to come up with a plan. Step 1 is cracking open that magic he just bought. He yanks out the lantern spellbook he snagged for cheap. The shopkeeper leaned in and told him, just read it, that's all. He flips it open and it's pure gibberish, not a single symbol makes sense to him. Right before he can even process the L, the book erupts in flames inside his hands. He freaks out, then realizes it's totally cold and harmless. The book crumbles into ash and leaves not a single trace. Suddenly, spell knowledge detonates in his mind. He jerks back, yells the incantation, lantern. A blazing orb of light blooms in his palm. He did it, and that's when it hits. He's a mage. His victory celebration doesn't even last. Right when he's basking, the innkeeper yells from downstairs to quiet down, and boom, the great sorcerer Rook gets publicly humiliated. And then bam, he oversleeps, right when it matters most. Turns out that little magic trick of his turned him into a local legend, and that night he was downing drinks with the regulars like he belonged there. With his new friends spilling everything he needed, he finally had the full rundown on the dungeon. Now it was time to march in and wipe it clean. He strides out the south gate, itching for his very first adventure. The dungeon entrance is nothing fancy, just a bare cave straight out of a 2D RPG. But hey, this is real life, and that dark entrance is straight up giving me the creeps. He's got a knot in his stomach because the locals swore it's simple, just goblins and slimes. But for folks living in a fantasy world, it might as well be nightmare mode, especially for a guy who's been chilling on peaceful modern Earth. He steps in and boom, before he can even breathe, a bunch of paths splinter out in every direction. Crap. The receptionist definitely didn't warn him about a maze. Now he's completely in over his head. He starts freaking out, convinced some ambush is lurking in the dark corridors. After a full minute of panic, he snaps and declares, I'm going back. He hammers the truth into his own head. He's no hero, he's not here to save the world. He's doing it his way, slow and steady, and in his world, survival comes first. Alright, our guy just stumbled back from his first dungeon run and the old timer goes, yo, did you get scared, little dude? And our MC throws up his hands like, yeah, I was kinda shook. And that old man, absolute Chad, he tells our guy that playing it safe is pure pro-gamer energy because it keeps you alive. Then he orders him to hang tight while he dashes off to snag loot just for him. What a legend. And just like that, he's dropped right back in the dungeon, flicking his lantern on and flooding those dark caves with light. He gets hit with face bombs right away, then the truth slaps him. He completely forgot that spell even existed. Bro, you've got to be kidding me, and to make it worse, the old guy handed him pencil and paper too, like, yeah, map it out. Feeling way more confident this time, he dives in and sketches out the crossroads like a real RPG completionist. He leans around a razor-sharp corner, hunting for trouble. It looks like a total dead end, but his gamer instincts are screaming there has to be a secret wall or hidden loot just waiting to be found. And bam, right on cue, a wild slime barges in and that gooey menace hurls itself straight at his face. Our MC swings once, crack, then the monster just bursts into goo, splattering the floor like a crime scene. First blood, let's go. Honestly, my guy's kinda let down. He wanted a legendary first fight, not a one-hit KO against some jello monster. Then the slime's dead body shoots straight into the dungeon and vanishes. Only a tiny glowing loot drop is left behind. It's a magic stone and he decides to keep it as a souvenir from his very first kill. Honestly, how adorably messed up is that? After scouting a few more routes, he finally spots the stairs that drop straight to the next level. He's going full nerd mode, freaking out about how this world's dungeons are basically monster recycling plants. Then they spit out RNG loot like clockwork. On the second floor, the tunnels blow wide open, and it gives him tons of space to swing that mighty stick of doom like a wrecking ball. But hold up, he catches a strange noise in the dark, and something's headed his way before he's even updated his map. Then bam, a freakin' goblin rockets out of the darkness, charging straight for him like it's about to shank him any second. It rockets through the air, and our guy is sweating bullets like he just realized he made the worst life choices ever. Remembering the old man's advice, he times it perfectly, one solid whack and he slips the attack like a total champ. Then he slams in a crisp bonk straight onto the goblin's head. And that's it, down he goes, the goblin faceplints onto the floor, instantly one-shotted. He jabs at it just to confirm it's not faking. Nope, he's got the kill. He's honestly stunned like, dude, these monsters are way weaker than in the video games. Yeah bro, you're literally still in the tutorial area. Just like that, slime, the goblin gets swallowed whole and all that's left is a magic stone, now a bit bigger, and when the monster's bigger, the loot hits harder. Then whoa, bright light starts spinning around him like it's hunting him down. Power slams through his veins and he blurts, "Oh my holy crap, I'm leveling up." Everything just flipped upside down. He'd been sure this world would crush him on sight, but if he can grind levels like it's an RPG, then, boom, he might actually become op. And just like that, he's flooded with confidence as he keeps mapping the dungeon. He's starting to believe, like, for real, that he might actually pull off this whole adventurer life after all. And talk about perfect timing, he spots a huge door with boss room stamped all over it. He psychs himself up for an ogre or something, but nope. The boss is just another goblin, only this time it's got a knife, so yeah, it's a whole step up. He just waits for it to strike, then he snaps in with a clean kick, jamming its arm and taking it out in one smooth move. He snaps into a full power swing and drills it straight at the dome, clean as a clap. The boss drops to the ground and the whole time he's like, wait, was that it? Did I really just clear the dungeon that fast? The goblin's body disappears in a flash, bam, dropping a giant magic stone and a real physical book as the very first clear bonus. He snatches it up and the second it's in his hands, he just knows it's the Holy Light magic book. He realizes this instant of knowledge has to be tied straight to his op affinity stat. Before he even gets a chance to read one word, the book erupts in flames and downloads everything straight into his brain, no delay, no mercy. In the span of seconds, he's just learned healing magic and honestly, that's an insane jackpot. Back at the guild, he shoves his stones into the cash and walks away with 4 bronze and 1 silver, nice paycheck, but nothing to brag about. He's panicking that it won't even cover living expenses, but the guild receptionist shuts his worries down, telling him it's the standard pay for solo newbies. Herbs are begging him to level up his knowledge, so he turns to her and asks if there's a library where he can dig into everything about herbs. He suddenly realizes he's been a complete idiot for not seeing that the guild would run its own resource center. He strides inside and the guy at the desk basically goes, you know, it's rare to see an adventurer who actually knocks. The place is way bigger than he ever expected, and it hits him like a flashback to his school library. He tosses those dull herb books aside and dives straight into the real lore, hunting it down for real. First thing on his mind, scouring this brand new world for every last scrap of information he can get his hands on. He dives headfirst into a brutal grind of politics, economics, races, monsters, and magic, devouring book after book. But then he spots something off. His magic book has no spell for holy light unless you say the incantation. And every magic book in that shop was dyed green, until his dungeon special book showed up blazing blue. He remembers this, holy light doesn't fit inside any of the 6 main elements. It's something only god-tier monsters like angels and saints are allowed to wield. He can't shake it. Why would some spell that brutal land in a trash-tier beginner dungeon? That just screams asterisk sus asterisk. So he decides to keep this new power under wraps for now. Honestly, that's a smart play. Later, he's at the bar, leaning in to tell old adventurer Hans-san how he finally landed his first real clear reward. The new girl corners Hans and asks what he scored on his first clear. Hans grins and says, an iron sword. But years ago he apparently tore it apart trying to upgrade it and burned it to ashes in the process. Burn it up, Rook blurts out, because equipment augmentation has a brutal failure rate and when it finally tanks, the crash gets its own name, burning it up. Rook suddenly panics for answers and Hans grins like a menace, saying he needs another drink before he'll spill the truth. This dude is basically a walking information kiosk, straight up fueled by alcohol. A whole week vanishes in a blink. Rook locks in his routine, fruit at dawn, goblins getting ground up in the dungeon and books getting devoured by afternoon. After all that grind, he finally levels up into an E rank, then bam, a shiny new bronze guild card lands in his hands. Let's go. He even snatched a magic book for Lightball and right away tested it on a goblin. The spell rips the monster apart so brutally that Rook recoils in horror, unable to look away from the gruesome aftermath. He starts spiraling into an existential crisis, asking himself if he'd ever dare use that deadly spell on a human if it came down to it, because the adventure of life suddenly feels painfully real. He talks to his hands about it, and they swear this is the very first wall every adventurer slams into. Hans grabs his attention and warns him, pick where you draw the line because if you don't, you're going to end up dead. When it came to his hands, it was never some noble justice, only one thing mattered, staying alive. He learned the brutal truth the hard way. His own allies betrayed him over legendary artifacts, and it turned the whole world into a ruthless game of kill or be killed. Even after that betrayal, he refused to quit. He kept chasing danger like a true adventurer. That was the kind of tough that broke most people. Rook, the info-hungry menace he is, blurts, "What are artifacts?" and the old man instantly chokes on his drink. Sensing his opening, Rook snaps into action, offers to buy him drinks all night just to get that info dump. Turns out those artifacts are ancient civilization op relics, so absurdly strong you could probably conquer the whole world with just one. Like the Sword of Light, Lulfnir, or the Holy Staff Angel Bell. Back when he was a gamer, Rook is absolutely losing it, because this stuff was only ever a fantasy in the games of his old world. Right then and there he decides, I'm exploring this world, every cool thing, every hidden wonder. But right as his mind spirals, he hears a massive commotion roaring from downstairs. A person crashes into the guild yelling for help at the top of their lungs, and there's this guy there, bleeding badly, barely holding on. The cat girl is sobbing her heart out, screaming that her friend Dan is about to die. Tension in the room skyrockets, so thick you can almost taste it. That cat girl is falling apart, pleading for help, begging anyone to save her and promising she'll pay anything. This whole moment punches you in the gut because he finally remembers the truth. In this world, there are no second chances and death is absolute. This isn't some video game where you can just hit revive and bring your party back. The old man's hands dart in fast, but he instantly realizes this wound is too brutal for any regular potion to save. He confirms it, yeah, the guy's organs are shredded and he's a goner. And to make things worse, the local priest is so old and frail he can't even pull off a real healing spell. The guild's completely out of high-level potions, and the cat girl's hope is slipping away fast. Oh wow, this starter village barely ever sees a high-rank healer, and guess what? His luck just ran out hard. As Rook steps out, his mind starts racing. Should he crack open his secret op healing magic to save some random stranger? But he snaps to attention and refuses to just stand there and let someone die. Because if he does, he'll regret it for the rest of his life, and yeah, this is where the main character moment hits. He steps up, panics, blurts, "Excuse me," then quickly adds, "I can actually use a little healing magic." At last, everyone freezes mid-breath and gapes at him, totally stunned. Rook skips the stairs, drops to his knees, and pours every ounce of his energy into the moment, because he knows if he doesn't go all in, it's over. He slams his hands over the wound, screams, "Divine light, come forth, cure this being." A blazing pillar of light detonates from his hands, swallowing the dying man whole. Holy light. That blinding flash sealed the fatal wound in seconds, shutting death down instantly. And just like that, the guy starts breathing again. He's saved. The whole guild erupts in cheers. This cat girl is crying tears of pure joy, and our boy is standing there like a full-on hero. That guild girl is suddenly right in his face, cheeks blazing as she blurts out, "Why'd you hide a skill this amazing?" Even Hans is completely stunned when Rook hurls a high-level spell, no incantation, no warning at all. That's not normal, not even close. Later that night, the whole tavern goes wild, because the squad is finally rolling out, pounding the road in those old-school covered wagons. Rook's already drenched in sweat, and he steals a quick glance back to see just how far they've come. He spirals into full moe mode like, "Wait, our village is gone," then scrambles to break the tension by asking why Lackey is so quiet, but yeah, bruh, he's just not that into you. The other girl shrugs and says Lackey's just a little cold at first with new faces, but Mel, the cat girl, turns around and treats their employers like royalty. This dad's dude jumps in, calls Melchan's social game top tier, then lets slip he's low-key jealous of Lackey for pulling all that attention from her. Case closed. Rook starts acting like a legit detective, betting those random faces are childhood friends or something, while Lackey's locked in full guard mode, drowning out every bit of gossip like a total Chad. Switching gears, Dats leans in and grills Rook, demanding to know why this world has 0 official maps. The boy's mind drifts back to that day. Turns out even the library only had a tiny low-poly sketch showing where the major landmarks were. Dats lays it out plain: maps are top-secret military intel, so you don't go spilling your country's layout to the enemy, no way, and yeah, only the elite get access to the real good stuff. Then Mel flexes hard and drops that her merchant family has custom maps made to give them the upper hand over everyone else. Turns out here, owning a map isn't just useful, it's a huge status symbol. Rook tossed out names from his old party's quest, Tranquista Castle and the Azul Empire, but Dats and Mel stared blankly like they'd never heard a word. That little thought kicks in and suddenly Rook's gears start spinning like, "Wait, we're not even on the same continent, are we?" Then he slumps back into full moe mode, spiraling over whether his old party is pissed that he vanished. Bro, they were literally brainwashed, so chill. Then bam, a flashback crashes in and that magic circle starts crackling and buzzing like it's alive. It erupts in a massive flash of blinding light. Then boom, a whole squad of confused-looking people, swaddled in bathrobes, gets ice guides shoved into existence right in front of them. A gang of dudes in pope hats bursts into cheers like, right on cue, the Oracle's prophecy just hit the moment perfectly. The summon crew is completely screwed, scrambling around like, where the heck are we, trying to figure out where they've landed. They spot the clergymen and instantly assume they've stumbled into a church. But no, these dudes are getting branded as heroes, straight up guided by God, and suddenly the whole story gets 10 times darker. Then the final boss bursts into the room. This hard-faced guy steps forward and introduces himself as the Emperor of the Azul Empire. He's planted on his throne, boxed in by 2 towering knights in full plate, and he leans forward to tell the heroes he's got a dangerous request. The summoned crew finally clicks the puzzle together. This is the Azul Empire they were sent to hunt down. An old advisor strides forward and lays out the ice-cold warning. Our land is being swallowed by a creeping evil darkness, and you, the summoned heroes, are the only hope we've got. Yeah, we've heard that song 1,000 times. While everyone's scrambling to process this wild info dump, one of the girls gets hit with a way bigger problem. Suddenly, she's got ELF ears. Talk about a glow-up. And then the scene snaps away. That night, the Emperor huddles up with his advisor for an urgent debrief. He fires off, "Did you find the chosen one?" And the advisor shoots back, "No, I couldn't track down anyone with that holy name." The Emperor's like, "Hold up, those 2 are imposters." But the advisor checks the records and confirms the names are right, so they're the real deal. The prophecy wasn't vague, it promised there'd be 6 of them. But here's the twist, only 5 heroes showed up, and the missing one has gotta be that holy name character. The Emperor is furious about this RNG, and you can feel it in the air. He calls the whole mess bothersome, which is kingspeak for "this sucks." But the advisor isn't finished. He leans in and blurts, "Your Majesty, there's one more thing." Bam, instant cliffhanger. And just like that, we snap back to reality, our crew kicking back by a crackling campfire. They rush over to check on Rook. He's still wiped out from hauling that wagon for almost 5 minutes, until Lackey finally has to take over. A boy is sprawled on the ground, feeling utterly useless, while Mel tries to lift him back up. Because she's not just cheering, she's offering real backup, straight up saying he can count on her, and yeah, she's basically waifu material standing right there. Rooks can't help but feel a little let down. He wanted a full-on RPG experience with way more monsters crashing the party. Party leader Dan blows the horn and orders everyone to gear up, because it's time to move out again. Rook suddenly snaps into focus and realizes this isn't a video game at all, so he has to take everything seriously, starting right now. Dan breaks it down. Yeah, monsters usually lurk in the forest, but you don't mess around because that's exactly why they're working jobs in the first place. They officially dubbed themselves the Wind Squad, and the second it said, Rook's gut drops. Right on cue, that's when the monster barges in, an L-shaped sheep charging straight at them. The squad snaps into formation right away. Dan hops onto the tank, Lackey and Mel lock onto DPS, and Rook hangs back on standby. It's as big as a motorcycle, and inside, Rook is freaking out nonstop. Dan plants his feet, snaps his shield up, and braces like he's about to absorb the full blast. The L-sheep crashes into him, and the dude just stands there like a total absolute Chad. He's getting shoved back over and over, but he refuses to crack. Lackey gives the signal, and he and Mel surge in together, ready to snap the pincer attack shut. They pounce the second it's stunned, slicing and dicing the beast in sync like a single weapon. Flawless teamwork. Dan slams in the final hit, and the monster crumples to the ground. But right when Rook is admiring how perfectly they move together, another one suddenly pops out of nowhere. This is way too close for comfort, while the rest of the party is still miles out of position. Rook finally clocks it. This is his moment to light up the stage, so I've gotta step in right here. He starts siphoning magic power like a storm, compressing it into one savage, glowing mass in his arm. He screams and hurls the light ball forward, unleashing it in a flash. The L-sheep has absolutely no clue what's about to hit them. The spell lands with a thunderclap, blasting the massive beast into the air, KO. The rest of the party just stands there, frozen in shock, mouths hanging open like WHWA. Mel immediately starts hyping him up, gushing that his spell was downright insane. Even Dan stunned. He thought that light ball was trash tier, but Rook just hurled it and deleted a monster Dan could barely defend against. Turns out our boy is secretly op. Mel demands his secret, but Rook stays ice cold, smiling as he promises he'll spill it later. Next up is the gross part. Dan hacks into the monster to grab the loot, and the stink of monster guts makes him gag instantly. Mel absolutely hates dissecting, so they switch off taking turns. Honestly, smart move. Rook clocks just how hard Mel is worrying over Dan, and it hits him. She's the real ride-or-die teammate. After that non-stop chaos, they finally burst into the city of Langford. Rook can't believe it. Those buildings are absolutely gigantic. He's out here geeking over paved roads like it's a miracle. Man-'s been stuck in the sticks for way too long. The crew hooks up with their client Datz's dad, then walks away paid for the escort job and the monster parts. Dan, the natural-born leader, orders them to head straight to the Adventurers Guild. Rook spots it instantly. The guild hall is basically a carbon copy of the one back in the village. Mel breaks it down like this: it's basically a franchise, so the same design shows up everywhere, meaning adventurers can always track it down. Inside, they rush up to the guild receptionist and hand over their report. The quest is finished, and on top of that, they pocket a bonus bounty of 2 gold coins just for wiping out the L-sheep. Let's go. Rook's such a total newbie that he blurts out, what even is a bounty? With their pockets a bit heavier, the squad slips out right away, hunting down an inn for the night. The city's still buzzing tonight with a night market packed wall-to-wall with street vendors. It's mostly worthless scraps meant to bait collectors. But right there, an old peddler is hunting for buyers, trying to hawk rare dungeon loot like it's priceless gold. And that's when Rook catches it. There's a blue magic book, and he's fighting for his life not to lose his mind. He taps it and boom, something clicks like a real magic bond. No cap, it's a true magic book to purify. He keeps his cool and casually asks, so how much? The vendor smirks and nails him with a ridiculously low price, just 100 gold coins. Rook and Mel were like, no way, we can't afford that, period. Mel, the ultimate haggler, storms right in. She announces that everything else he has is dungeon trash, barely worth 3 silver coins. He tries to argue, but Mel won't let up. She keeps pushing nonstop. She points at the torn scroll and the busted knife, pure trash that you definitely don't want in your loot. The vendor finally snaps and agrees to dump the entire lot for 1 measly gold coin, just to be done with them. Seriously, what a steal. Later, Mel grabs Rook's attention and warns him, those street vendors are usually scammers hawking fakes. Rook's guilty as hell for ripping off the rip-off artist because he knows the book is real, he just can't tell her. Mel shoots him a sly look and his stomach drops like she might have caught on to him. She finally heads home for the night and Rook stumbles into his room, so wiped out he's barely standing but screaming with excitement over his brand new book. He drops out cold, already daydreaming about the next powers he's about to unlock. Next morning he lurches down the stairs, still barely awake. He's so out of it that the innkeeper swears he's a totally different guy. Lackey's already wide awake and running around because out in the world, adventurers don't sleep. When Rook demands where Dan went, an awkward silence snaps down between him and Lackey. It's like the very first day of school all over again. I can still feel it hitting me in the chest. So Rook takes a deep breath, breaks the ice, and starting now steps up to be the one who wakes Dan up. Lackey instantly panics and blushes like crazy when Rook asks if Dan is hard to wake up. Dan, stuck up on the stairs, loses it like, how bad is it? He screams, and Rook, the good guy he is, jumps right in and agrees to help. At last, the entire squad is finally back together. Mel pitches a big welcome party for Rook, and the whole crew is instantly ready to bond as a team. So the cat girl is totally rattled because Rook, our boy, knows exactly how to use a spear. He goes, yeah, I lived out in the boonies, there wasn't much else to do, like that explanation isn't just the cover story he cooked up. But she's buzzing, yelling, bet, we're getting you a spear today, then we're sparring right after. She keeps it loud, but deep down she's low-key terrified to go toe-to-toe with someone who's actually seen real combat. The boys regroup on the spot, and our cat girl is still absolutely buzzing. She's itching to spar with those spears. They slam out a game plan, head straight to the blacksmith to fix their gear, and most of all, snag a brand new spear for Rook. Turns out that blacksmith they always swear by, he's hiding in some low-key back alley spot nobody would notice. People swear the guy's a total wizard, but his shop looks like a crumbling shack. Still, somehow it's a real hidden gem with the best vibes. Rook's spidey senses are blazing, he's locked in, and something about this whole mess feels wildly wrong. They pull up at Gildan's smithery and slap Rook right onto the team as the squad's brand new healer. The blacksmith glares at him, squinting hard, like, wait, I swear I've seen this kid somewhere before. And it all clicks, wait, this is Dan's dad, which means this is Dan's house, bro, what a plot twist. The dad instantly clocks Rook as the Chad who saved his son from becoming boar food, and he's like, alright then, tell me how you survived a wound that should have killed you. The old man clocks that his son was nearly deleted, but he keeps his cool, calmly warning him to be way more careful. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is huddled in whispers, calling out Dan for totally cutting out the part where he almost got clapped, because he didn't want his parents freaking out. To show his gratitude, the dad tells Rook to grab anything he wants from the shop on the house. Come on, free loot time. Dan's off hunting down repairs, so Mel, the cat girl waifu, steps in and helps Rook grab his brand new weapon. Rook is just staring at that gear like, whoa, this costs as much as the stuff back in my starting village. But hey, it's free, so yeah, he can't exactly complain. Mel's hitting him with the whole stat breakdown, then she warns him, one spear is so heavy it'll probably yank him down the moment he swings. Then she spills game lore about floater items, wildly rare, super light gear that basically teleports onto the market and only drops with insane RNG. A legendary greatsword or a shield that eats the hits, now that's some serious loot you drool over. And tell me why you know this. Dan's shield is one of those rare artifacts that lets him shrug off insane damage, and even his own dad can't say what it does to its full power. Rook finally snatches up a spear and begs his dad to slam the finishing touches on it. Then it hits him, he pulls out the knife the old lady gave him and begs the blacksmith to appraise it. The old man inspects it and his eyes snap wide. Whoa, this blade carries a paralysis effect. It may not be sharp, but it's still a certified top-tier weapon. He smacks an 8, maybe 9, gold coin price tag on it and bro just stumbles right into a mountain of cash. Rook's mind explodes with shock. He blurts out how the blacksmith can just stare at something and instantly know its properties. He explains it's a passive skill called judgment. If you're a talented craftsman, the moment your fingers touch an item, the information just pops into your head asterisk. Rook gets a total light bulb moment. He finally clicks that this is probably exactly how his magic books work. A racial talent, and this realization hits him like a massive level up. Later that night, the squad kicks off a welcome party, and Dan is getting absolutely hammered. My man's yelling at Rook to chug more while he's out cold, face first on the table like a total lightweight. The others say Dan gets hit with brutal stress the second he goes back home, family business pressure piling on like he can't breathe. As the eldest son, everyone expects him to either run the family business one day or straight up leave town, and yeah, the pressure is crushing. Then, out of nowhere, drunk Dan bursts back up, yelling that he loves this city more than anything and that he's gonna protect it, even with the whole world spinning because he's hammered. Bumping Dan gets Rook Alamo, I couldn't stop thinking about my own tangled backstory, my family, the shrine, and that dojo that shaped me. He'd never been able to match his Chad older brother at Kenjutsu, so it crushed him into feeling like a total loser. Then he fled into the MMO life, and yeah, he's totally picking up on Dan's vibe. Back in his room, he's feeling low, but he snaps his focus onto the real prize, his brand new gear. He yanks out the paralysis knife, tries to fire it up like a spell, and screams, "Paralyze on, awaken, magic sword," like he's the hype man in a shounen opening. And holy crap, it works, right as the blade starts blazing with that sick purple glow, like boom, instant power. He can't help but wonder right away, will this actually freeze enemies in their tracks? Because if it does, that's a total game changer. But he knows he'll have to train his swings while channeling magic at the exact same time. Next, he yanks out that dusty, beat-up magic book he grabbed off some sketchy street stall. The spell's name is Purify. He assumed it was just for wrecking undead, but the moment the truth hits his head, he realizes it's got way more uses than that. He rubbed the spell onto a filthy towel, took a shot, and poof, boom, the towel came out spotless and shining. Whoa, that's insane. He spots those creepy white particles flaking off, and it hits him. His spell's so op it just zaps right through the towel and straight onto his bedsheets. Bro's acting just like Sai. Yeah, this is not gonna end well. Alright, guess there's no choice, time to clean the entire bed right. He fires off the spell, and this time, it drags on like it'll never finish. And it's chewing through his mana bar like a monster. Then the spell finally cuts out and he's left completely rattled. Alright, the magic bill jumps up the bigger the mess he's scrubbing, pretty convenient, but one slip and his MP's gone. Still, when your body smashes into a perfectly clean bed, man, nothing feels better than that. Then our boy hits a straight-up 200 IQ galaxy brain moment. Wait, hold up, what if I purify myself? He quickly tries it on his bag first, only the outside, and boom, it works. So he goes full send, casting Purify across his whole body. He shoots himself a quick once-over. Yeah, everything's there, body intact, and not a single missing limb in sight. Not only is he spotless, his whole robe looks brand new too, and the spell finally snaps and breaks. His hair turns silky soft and he feels completely recharged. Seriously, that's the best spell ever. He's partying like crazy, yelling that his life is finally gonna feel comfy now. Hooray for that Purify spell. Yahoo, he bellows as he faceplants onto his bed. Then it hits him, those huge white particles he just sprayed are now drifting down all over his spotless room, and yeah, you really hate to see that. Alright, next scene, our squad is training when some monster snaps loose and charges straight for Rook. But our boy's not messing around, he's got a brand new spear in hand, shouting, "Leave it to me." He closes in fast, then bam, he cleanly spears the giant rat monster in one shot. Dan is seriously impressed. Yeah, it's just practice. But landing a one-shot kill on an Elred is still a beast of a feat, and now they know Rook can back them up if the front line ever gets forced to fold. They dive into role-playing combat scenes, even drilling the right way to backpedal and retreat when monsters come roaring in. Mel immediately starts roasting Dan's terrible acting, yelling that his "damn it got away," and yeah, it sounds way too chill for what he's talking about. Dan snaps back, getting all defensive like, "Risk management matters, trust me, I've seen theater plays." Turns out his goblin act was so painfully cringe it snapped Mel's heart and made her cry, Elma. After practice, Rook throws himself into the mess, tearing monsters apart to harvest the materials he needs. Mel offers to clean his hands for him because he's clearly struggling. She casually flicks out a tiny water magic burst and lashes the air with a single, sharp water drop spell. Rook's totally blown away that she can use magic, but she shrugs it off like it's no big deal, just hours of practice. That night, Rook dove right back into his Purify spell experiments, hunting for the exact moment it hits its limits. The very next day, Mel locks eyes with him and serves up the most brutal death stare imaginable. Bro's totally clueless, like, wait, did I mess up somehow? She barrels right up in front of him and calls him a real neat freak. She's totally baffled. He tears around all day, comes out splattered in monster guts, and somehow not a single drop of sweat or dirt ever touches him, and now she's honestly worried for real. The guys just awkwardly freeze in place, but Mel isn't anywhere near finished. Then she totally snaps, screaming at the other two for being stinky and demanding they learn a thing or two from Rook's hygiene game. All this time, Rook keeps getting lost in memories of his old party member, Kanon, who'd also torched the team for smelling up the place. Speaking of which, we cut to Kanon's new party, and they're getting absolutely crushed in a dungeon, with wolves just sprinting past their frontline like it's nothing. Back there, the mage is spiraling into a full-blown panic as a wolf launches at him headfirst. The party's archer is really giving it everything he's got, but he's still just a regular guy who trained with a bow back on Earth, and the skill gap, it's brutally massive. Kanon is fuming, screaming at the top of his lungs, and I'm yelling back, "Stop letting mobs creep to the back." But that tank is frozen in pure terror, trembling and whining like he's about to crack. "I can't do this. Man, what a trash tier party." In the end, the very disaster she dreaded finally crashed down on her. The tank blurts out an apology for panicking, but Kanon snaps into action, telling them to stay positive because every level makes them stronger. The leader throws in the towel, yanks the crew around, and heads back. They're standing outside this massive dungeon, built right into the city like a fortress straight out of a nightmare. She snaps open a message saying everything's set, now they've got to rush to the castle ASAP. But first they've gotta hawk their loot, so a merchant steps in and offers to buy the whole stash. He shoves their loot aside as throwaway crap, then offers them a measly 1 silver coin for everything like it's supposed to be acceptable. She knows it's a total ripoff, but the guy corners them and swears it's a steal for junk. Then they realize they got absolutely scammed. So where's this party headed? Straight to Arl, the resting place of heroes. Their whole quest hinges on getting one of their own to pull a legendary hero's sword. Yank a sword out right from where you asked. Turns out that sword is jutting out of the hero's grave, and the legend screams that whoever yanks it free gets the hero's power, classic Excalibur side quest energy. The moment their carriage screeches to a stop, they finally roll up to the castle gates. Now let's swing back to our main man Rook and his squad. They just got hit with a brand new quest from the Straw Trading Company. It's a grueling 7-day escort mission out to a remote village and back, and if you pull it off you walk away with 10 gold coins plus every expense covered. Solid payday, no joke. Rook's like, "Why are you all huddled in the corner whispering like you're about to cut some shady back alley deal?" Dan warns that if the mission details got out, bandits would ambush them for sure. Aw just nods like, "Yep, that checks out." The cat girl is torn, eyeing her choices. This money would change everything, but she's terrified her dad won't take it well once he realizes she's disappearing for so long. Then they whip around to Rook and demand his take, officially throwing him into the Win squad like he's one of them. He blushes hard but can't hide his joy, then he grins and goes, "Yeah, sure, I'm in." Alright, the crew's gearing up for their next big escort mission and my guy's standing there dead serious. "Stay sharp, everyone. Bro, this is your first real mission with the squad, so relax." Mel, the cat girl, is leaning in to drop some hardcore pro gamer advice. "Keep your pace, don't burn all your mana before the boss fight, you know the vibes." Turns out they're just escorting that same merchant apprentice as before, but this time the route screams trouble packed with high-level mobs. Still, they're not sweating it because the squad's got our op healer backing them up. And get this, Mel drops a bombshell. She's the merchant's daughter. That's why the reward money is so huge. She's basically like, "You all can handle this, right?" And she's laser-focused on squeezing out the biggest profits. Meanwhile, our guy's stuck in a full-on internal rant, seething that everyone's plotting how to get rich without him. "Dude, you're the main character, you're gonna grab that bag soon enough." The vibe turns straight-out nightmare fuel in seconds as the trees crowd closer and closer. Rook's danger sense starts buzzing and he blurts, "Yo, something's out there moving, so be careful." And boom, out of nowhere an entire pack of forest wolves erupts onto the scene, wild-eyed and feral. The squad instantly snaps into defense, screaming, "Protect the payload, don't let them get the horses." But Rook's already got this gank figured out like, "Relax, I planned for this," and then he launches a blinding light ball. The spell detonates with a thunderous boom, rocking the entire pack to its core, an absolute perfect first strike. That's the cue, now the whole party goes absolutely berserk. Lackey and Dan crash into the fight, hacking, stabbing, and firing arrows like it's open season because this is a full-on massacre. That old merchant just stands in the back, trembling like crazy. "Oi, you gotta see this." They wiped out a whole wolf pack in about 5 seconds. The whole squad's buzzing, grinning like maniacs. "See, and Rook's right here. Our teamwork is locked in and smashing it now." Dan spots a tiny scratch on his arm and Rook is there in a flash. "Hold up, let me patch that little paper cut." The merchant leans in like, "You two are clutch, drinks for you all later." Dan's jaw drops and he goes, "Dude, we're living in luxury, look at this heel. One of these would cost a whole bag at the church." Turns out healing magic here is straight-up pay to win, one cast costs a fortune, and regular people only touch it when they're moments away from respawning. They shrug off the plan and just snatch the magic stones to prove they did it, then chow down on the bodies because carrying extra loot is a burden and the payoff isn't even worth it. So they just huck those bozos into the forest. Boom. R.I.P. bozos. Later on, Rook spots another party member casually conjuring clean water out of thin air, and it hits him like a lightning bolt. Wait, I should absolutely learn that spell. Turns out that magic water is straight-up pure gold, used for everything from brewing deadly potions to supercharging farming, and if you play your cards right, it's basically a cheat code for endless money. After smashing through yet another wolf ambush with zero trouble, they finally stumble into their campsite and settle in for the night. But the place is downright eerie, just a scatter of abandoned ruins like the world got left behind. It looks sketchy, but trust me, it's way safer than sleeping out in the open. That architecture looks straight-up futuristic, and right away the MC starts firing off wild theories about some long-lost ancient civilization that was even more high-tech than anything we've seen. By the campfire, they lean in and start trading rumors. Suddenly monster spawns are popping up across the whole map. The mobs they tore through before were way beyond their normal biomass. Something seriously messed up in the server SRNG, and it's screaming to everyone. That old man is gnawing his bread like it's nothing, and I swear, if this isn't a coincidence, things are about to get brutally ugly fast. Time for the watch shift to swap, and Rook gets yanked awake from his nap. Mel, the MVP, has a steaming cup of hot tea waiting for him, and the whole moment feels ridiculously wholesome. My man S wrapped up in a blanket like it's pure gold, because most adventurers don't get cozy at all. They crash on the cold, hard ground, always ready to dodge an ambush. He tilts his head up and spots the full moon hanging in the sky. Then it smacks him full-on Ice Guy protagonist enlightenment. He's staring at the two moons, getting all deep like, maybe I was sent here for a special reason. Bro, you learned magic water 5 minutes ago. Next morning, they finally crash into the forest village, and the second Rook spots it, his stomach drops. No walls at all, and that's a huge red flag. The merchants dump off the goods and vanish like nothing happened, and that's when the squad books it straight to the local adventurers guild. They kick off 3 wild wolfpack reports, and the guild receptionist just blurts, "Oh my god, that's insanely unusual." The squad can't believe how calm she is, and meanwhile the locals are so oblivious they're basically ignoring everything happening around them. Another receptionist snaps that she's reporting it to the capital, because normally a guild would have taken this 1,000 times more seriously. But then boom, lore hits them hard. This village is supposedly wrapped in fairy divine protection. That's why there aren't any walls, just a whole village sprinting on pure faith, praying that even with monsters lurking everywhere, they'll still be safe. Talk about being asterisk down bad for the Fae. MC is scrambling to wrap his head around this whole fairy legend mess. Anyway, their squad's got a rule. After a huge job, you earn a rest day, so yeah, time to log off and breathe for a bit. The rest of his party immediately faceplants in, and then they just start dancing like it's no big deal. Honestly, for a bunch of adventurers, these guys are weirdly normal. Next day, Rook couldn't stay still, so he bolted into town to explore every corner. He snags street food for 2 copper, then leans in and starts talking with the vendor, grilling him about the local fairy tale. The old dude lays out the G-rated version, behave, and the fairies will swoop in and whisk you off to their kingdom like Santa Claus, only way more glitter. The vendor thrusts a finger north and tells him, head to the fairy garden, trust me, you can't miss it. He lays down 2 simple rules, don't mess with the flowers, and whatever you do, don't touch the stone pillar in the middle. Sounds easy, right? So yeah, right away, our boy bolts over there to see what's up. When he finally arrives, his jaw drops to the ground because what he sees is a gigantic sea of flowers, and he can't help blurting out, "Whoa, this is unreal." Everything feels wild and electric here, nothing like the forest and vineyards surrounding it. This place is on a whole other level. Right in the heart of it all stands one lone stone pillar, wrapped in flowers that you can't find anywhere else nearby, way too unnatural, like some supernatural power is messing with reality. You know what's going through our guy's head? Don't worry, I've got a plan. Uh-oh. He tiptoes through the flowers with kid gloves, praying he doesn't break Rule 1 on his way to shatter Rule 2. He finally reaches the pillar and starts losing his mind, geeking out over how ancient it looks. Right then, his weird judgment power snaps on and rips the meaning off the text, ***, the Gate of Fairies. He snaps the pieces together. Could it be the Gate of Fairies right in front of him? That freaky ability of his, yeah, it's got to be connected to this very place. He's convinced it has to be some kind of portal to the fairy world, and that strange, flowery aura is gone for good now. He scrambles to decode the rest of the designs, but his skill just isn't high enough to pull it off. So what does he do? He slaps his hand on that pillar and boom, it purifies. He tells himself, I'm not dirtying it, I'm just cleaning it a little, like that's supposed to be fine, right, my dude? But nope, that's not how the rules work. He totally went too far. Now that pillar's shining like brand new. Oh crap, I gotta bail before someone catches me. Too late, the pillar starts glowing and a storm of light explodes from the ground. What's happening? Did I screw something up? Yeah, you did. A shadowy silhouette snaps into existence in the glowing light, then vanishes as the brightness fades. Right after a legit fairy shows up like she owns the place, she hits him with a stunning waifu introduction. She's Lislot, and then she smiles and says she can't wait to team up with him from here on out. Rook's just frozen in place, completely stunned like, wait, what, from now on? But the fairy doesn't even talk to him. She's hunting down some guy named Butison. Before he can even get the words out, she blurts, time's up, I have to go, and just cuts him off. She waves, goodbye, see you later, and then she vanishes. But before Rook can even blink, a system notification hits. New spell learned, summon fairy. What kind of insane RNG is that? Later, back at the inn, he flops onto the bed and tries to cast his brand new summon spell, then nothing happens. It's a total fizzle. He figures the missing piece is probably some catalyst or a proper offering, but hey, at least he's got proof it's possible. Because the trading company hasn't pulled out of town yet, the squads are stuck grabbing random guild quests just to keep the bills paid. Everybody's whispering about it, Langford's Road is getting deadly, and those new monster spawns are popping up everywhere. But the locals are so chill it's downright unreal. Mel spots a business opening the moment that medicine shortage starts creeping in, while everyone else is basically like, don't care. Because there are no decent escort quests on the board, the team throws caution to the wind and heads straight for the village where monsters supposedly never show up. They march into the forest for 2 long hours, pushing deeper with every step. And they stumble into not 1, not 2, but 3 goblins, then absolutely flatten them. Pathetic, honestly. The reward was solid for such a simple task, and Rook immediately got to try his brand new paralysis knife on a random wolf, because he's always grinding. The rest of the squad keeps shouting that his powers are the goddess's blessing, and he still hasn't learned how to live with it. The girls are totally done with this place, lackeys just snapping, I want to get back to Langford already. But Rook slams his hand up and tells everyone, just hang in there, give me a little more time. The very next day, they jump into an escort quest, protect an old lady as she scours the woods to gather herbs. Urgent request after urgent request just bombarded the guild all at once. Fed up with scraping by on low-tier monster hunts, the squad decides to shake things up and go take on something bigger for once. Big mistake, Honasan, the client, is a walking menace, screaming like she owns the world, and Mel has to bark shut up before she aggroes the whole forest. That granny then absolutely annihilates the whole party. She mocks Mel's cat ears, rips into her coalslack and calls him an amateur, and smacks Dan upside the head for messing up the herbs, pure savage energy. But she clearly knows her stuff, and she ends up teaching Rook the right way to harvest, so he dutifully scribbles it all down. Turns out you can't farm these herbs at all, you've gotta trust nature. And that's when she and Rook finally click and start vibing for real. Back at the inn, everyone's reeling. Mel's firing off complaints about the quest, and the guys hit her with, bro, you're the one who pushed for this. They all swear that if Rook hadn't swooped in to calm Demon Granny, they would have crashed hard, no question, so they raise their cups and toast Rook, the Granny Whisperer. Right then, a merchant finally rolls in. Thanks to him, he's got every herb he needs, way ahead of schedule, so they're all turning around and heading back to Langford tomorrow. Rook finally snaps to it. This whole mess traces back to the guy who placed that massive herb order, and yep, the Chaos side quest is basically all on him. Next morning, they finally set off for home. They get ambushed by wolves again a few more times, but they brush it off, no big deal. Once they're back, the whole squad agrees on a 2-day rest break. Rook's thrilled the mission's over, but he can't shake the feeling something's still missing, like that hot fairy he dragged into the world by breaking ancient rules. On his day off, he slips out alone to the blacksmith to get his spear repaired. It's all bent and chipped, yeah, that'll cost you 1 whole silver. The smith kicks off the conversation about Dan, praising him as a relentless hard worker, but he was born for more than just running around as another adventurer. He straight up tells Dan he's missing that extra spark if he's ever going to reach real success. Then he whips around to Rook and asks, "What about you? You want to make a name for yourself or what?" He admits Dan could have been a legendary blacksmith, but he chose this path instead, and honestly, it's a total tragedy. This absolutely hits Rook hard. He's an ice-powered protagonist, sure, but he's got to figure out how to survive and make a living in this world fast. After their break, the squad jumps right back into the grind, hunting the monster surge around Langford, and Mel goes full DPS, soloing mobs like it's nothing. Cash is rolling in and the whole team is locked in, vibes so good you can practically feel them. But lately, Rook's been feeling this heavy, crawling unease, like something's deeply wrong and it's dragging him down. His thoughts get yanked away the moment someone storms in and rips him out of sleep. "Rook, wake up." He blinks hard and finally the plot hits back. So yeah, 2 guards are posted on watch and one guy is already fuming, whining about the cold like he can't believe they're even out here. Suddenly, his partner squints into the far distance, and it definitely isn't the glow of a campfire smoke. Rose's heart drops as a monster horde barrels straight for them, pure nightmare, total emergency, and his buddy shouts for him to ring the alarm. Despite the panic, Rose snaps into action and does it. The alarm shrieks across the city, sparks instant panic, and every adventurer within earshot barrels into the guild hall. Dan, the boy, leaned in and explained the stitch to Rook, and apparently there were 2 alarm bells, one screamed trouble at the gate and the other for something else. The other plan means the whole city is seconds from getting wrecked. Yeah, it's a full-on code red, my guy. Right then, the guildmaster strides forward, slams for silence, and demands everyone's full attention before laying it all on them. Chad Darren Waller doesn't waste a second. Boom, he cuts right to it. A massive monster stampede is tearing in from the northwest. He slams a map down and yells that the main horde is set to skirt the city, then notices a brutal chunk sniffing out fresh adventurers and charging straight for their gate. Plot twist. You've got just half an hour and 0 time to retreat. He's facing hundreds, maybe thousands of monsters rampaging in every direction, and the mission, if you're brave enough, is to hold the west gate while hauling in a fat stack of gold and earning name-deep renown. The guild master drops the truth like a blade. Stand your ground at the gate or the monsters flood the city and there's nowhere to hide. This is a brutal do-or-die quest, one shot to get insanely rich or meet your end. Rook stares at the chaos and realizes it's a full-on survival nightmare, then hits the truth that the guildmaster's speech was nothing but hype, meant to get every adventurer hyped and pounding their chest, not actually running for their lives. And honestly, it kinda works. Half the adventurers are itching to fight for the bag while the rest look like they're 1 second away from bolting. But not our boys, they're all in, no backing out. They start gearing up for the fight and the guild master is already barking orders from the wall, telling everyone the monsters will slam in wave after wave, timed to how fast they're moving. Keep it simple, ignore every mob that isn't charging the gate, and unload everything you've got on the ones that are. He screams the battle orders, mages slam down stone walls, melee fighters slap together barricades, and archers climb the ramparts to turn the whole fight into a full-on tower defense. Dan tells Rook to take this lucky good luck and our boy can feel the pressure crushing in, but he squares his shoulders and forces on a brave face. Seeing his party members so chill actually loosens the knot in his chest and brings him back down a notch. That rush only lasts like 2 seconds, then the ground starts violently shaking and the raw power blasting off that horde hits like an earthquake, smashing my boy's hopes to pieces. Rook watches the mages raise that stone wall and for a split second doubt claws at him as he thinks, there's no way something that simple can hold back this kind of power. Then the first wave slams into the horizon, 200 to 300 wolves charging as one while the guildmaster roars back behind the gate now. The gate slams shut and everybody snaps into position, like the moment is ready to explode. The commander screams for them to hit the front line first, because if they slow that point, the entire pack grinds to a crawl. Mages and archers surge to full power, ready to unleash total chaos. The wolves creep in like a nightmare and everyone's drenched in sweat, frozen, just waiting for the signal. Finally, the guild master flashes a finger gun command and boom, fire erupts. From the wall, a colossal blast of magic and arrows explodes out, fireballs, windballs, and everything in between, all hitting at once. The wolf pack barrels straight into the light show, totally clueless about the chaos about to slam into them. And bam, this whole field erupts into a magical wrecking storm, blasting wolves through the air in every direction. The commander yells orders, driving the chaos forward, archers raining down on clustered foes while the mages unleash Maroi. It's non-stop explosions, hitting like thunder after thunder. The plan is hitting like a knockout, those wolves are getting absolutely torn to pieces. After a few more seconds of straight-up carnage, the commander screams for everyone to stop. That first wave got wiped out completely, and the guild master shouts for everyone to catch their breath, rest up, refill their mana, and then reload those arrows. Dan, the ultimate bro, rolls up on Rook and slides him some jerky, because somehow our guy forgot to pack snacks for the apocalypse. Rook hesitates, but Dan cuts in like, bro, what's the point of me carrying food if my teammates are gonna drop absolute chad? While they're busy snacking, Rook catches overheard drama. Our local baron is stingy as hell and flat out refusing to send supplies. The North Gate wants supplies too, but they're stuck watching the West Gate get hammered so hard they can't get a single thing. The guild master snapped at a soldier, demanding the official emergency supplies, right now like yesterday. Dan lays out the insane 5D chess plays unfolding right before them, but the Lord scoffs and calls it all a joke, then tries to bully the guild into handing over even more money using the crisis as leverage. This is political grifting on a whole other level. The Lord is straight up manufacturing a supply shortage so the guild panics and begs. He's parked on a mountain of supplies, refusing to share a single thing, and if that gate topples because of his greed, he's done for, but he's betting it won't go that far. This whole thing is just a giant power move dressed up like strategy. The guildmaster is so overwhelmed that he's literally ripping his hair out in pure stress. Meanwhile, the other adventurers start to riot, out of mana, nearly empty on arrows, and so hangry they're ready to snap, because morale has crashed straight into the ground. The guildmaster tries to soothe them, but they don't back down, they just keep shouting that he's stingy. Rook clocked it instantly. Those mercs only wanted the cash and they didn't care if the whole town went up in flames. While the party is roasting these guys as completely unprepared, the lookout bursts out loud. The second wave is about to hit. Rook snaps at his boys to hold the line, because he's got something way bigger cooking. He steels himself, insisting, "I'm calm now," as he braces to do exactly what has to be done. Then the second wave crashes in. About 300 giant, furious mountain sheep come charging like a rolling nightmare, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, RNG, you do you. These aren't your grandma's livestock, nope. They charge the gate and slam it hard like they mean to break through. The adventurers rip into battle again, unleashing another brutal volley of spells. Then one sheep suddenly starts glowing and blasts right through everything. The whole flock shatters through the stone wall. Yeah, these things are built different. They keep hammering those shots, but it still won't break through. The wall gets smashed open, and the commander barks at the mages to patch it up while everyone else scrambles to reload. Just when things look totally grim, bam, an absolute wild card shows up. Mel the cat girl hanging upside down from the wall, yelling she's got Rook a potion. My boy is stunned like, aren't you supposed to be at home? But she just grins and says she slipped out because she couldn't stand there and watch while her friends were out fighting. Her dad grabbed her spear, so she didn't panic for a second. She rolled in loaded with a whole boatload of food instead. What a legend. She shoves a special potion into his hands and tells him straight up, if the city gets wiped out, there's no point in business. Honestly, it's rock-solid logic. Then she starts slinging food and potions to everyone, like she's running a pop-up shop right in the middle of a siege. No fear, just pure hustler energy. Suddenly, Rook's spidey sense kicks in, something off, and the monsters they've already fought don't feel like a real stampede at all. And yeah, he's right when the lookout loses it and screams that the third wave is charging in, they spot it's a boss mob, a B-rank great boar. The guildmaster snaps completely, screaming for everyone to reinforce the gate and to drag in backup from the baron. Sweat pours down his face because there isn't a single person in town ranked high enough to solo a B-rank monster. So yeah, they're in serious, can't-wait trouble. He starts mouthing on the spot, yelling at everyone to just pile in, swarm the thing, and scrape together whatever tiny damage they can. Rook catches sight of it and holy hell, it's an absolute unit, a 4+ meter mammoth of a pig towering over everything. He can't stop thinking, how do you even fight something like that without turning into a pancake? They throw caution to the wind and unleash a non-stop magical barrage, shot after shot like their lives depend on it. The spells slam into the boar and it shrugs it all off like nothing at all. Damn it, the commander roars. The board rockets forward, crashes through the barricades and leaves everything in shards. It smashes through the main gate like it's nothing but paper. It's happening inside the walls, no drills, no practice. The guild master snaps completely, he's losing it, screaming curses like damn it, fuck. He barks orders for every C-rank fighter to swarm the beast and lock it in a constant fight. Dan and the crew rush in, snapping orders to the ranged units to keep their shots off their own teammates. Friendly fire is a hard no. But it's pointless, these warriors can't punch through its hide and every arrow just ricochets and skitters off, so all they can do is scramble to stop it from smashing into the city streets and rampaging. The mages can't land a clean shot, so Rook grabs Dan and orders him to crack open a clear opening for him. Then Mel, absolute madness, rockets in and throws everything off with a total distraction. People are being flung around like ragdolls, no hope in sight. The boar lines up another savage charge, and everyone tenses up like they're about to get hit any second. Some random C-rank nobody barrels forward with more guts than brains, yelling, "Come at me, you pig bastard." The boar locks eyes with him, and you can practically feel the pain coming. The guy tightens his grip on the shield just as the boar barrels in at full speed. Somehow he pulls it off and slams the brakes, stopping it right in its tracks. For half a second, just long enough for everything to change. Then bam, he gets absolutely launched, Rook and all. That dude has to be blessed by some goddess to swing with strength like that. Even after that huge play, nothing shifts because they still can't hurt the boar. Rook realizes they've hit a dead end. If they keep pushing, they'll just burn out, get exhausted, and get wiped out. Then an idea snaps to life. He can't destroy it, but maybe he can slam the brakes on it and slow it down. No time to breathe, he shouts for Dan and bolts into motion. It's his last shot, his final desperate gambit. He yanks out a paralyzing knife, my boy-s going full status effect mode. He braces to leap onto the boar's back, screaming, "I've got no choice." Everyone's screaming at him, convinced he's on a suicide run, yet he's locked in. He launches the jump and smashes onto the beast's back. Now he's riding that boar and it's actually working while he screams like the absolute legend he is. He scrambles around yelling, "Please find a weak spot, just give me a little." He spots the perfect opening, raises his debuff knife and lines up the shot. And he goes full plus ultra, let's blow past the limit and go even further. With a final, earth-shaking shounen scream, he hurls himself forward and drives the knife in. And boom, giant boars crash into the air, floating there with their whole bodies looking utterly wrecked. My boy Luke's party is in full shock, but our boy is getting patched up. Because that big pig ain't dead, it's just frozen solid and paralyzed, and everyone's losing it, screaming for someone to finish the job. This absolute unit of a dwarf uncle just strolls up, slaps the boar's neck in front of his axe. Game over, man. The second that pig hit the ground, the whole town erupted, victory screams blasted from every corner, my dude. Everyone's slapping their own backs, buzzing like real adventurers ready to defend their hometown, because the wind dance party is about to blow up and get famous, no cap. But our MC can't even enjoy the celebration. An existential crisis hits him mid-laugh and it finally clicks. Everything his old mentor tried to warn him about is landing right now. He'd gotten way too comfortable with his crew, acting like he had no plan of his own, while a barmaid was right there trying to steal his number. After a few days of monster janitor cleanup, my boys got all this free time to overthink, way too much time. Then boom, payday hits, baby. The guildmaster strides in and plunks down a whopping 30 gold coins for every single fighter, and you already know we're cheering. The Baron's got the repairs covered, so my man and the 8 are set. Now our boy's stepping into this brand new dungeon and he's grinning like, yeah, this is total noob territory, super simple layout. He's skimmed the patch notes so he knows the first floor is nothing but slimes, yet the moment he hears something strange, he refuses to panic and instead plays it cool, scouting the area like a pro. Turns out it's just a whole family of noobs ganging up on one poor slime while the dad coaches his kids on how to bonk it. Seriously, it's like a starter pack party. Our MC is way too op for this floor, so he nopes out and hunts down the stairs. Floor 2, here he comes. Ain't nobody got time for Tutorial Island. He spots the stairs and suddenly gets hit with this wild wave of nostalgia, like he's back in high school again, only this time the stairwells are a safe zone with 0 mobs. He bursts onto the second floor and wastes no time. His eyes lock onto a brand new target the second he's in the frame. And what does he see? Another crew of low-level idiots stampeding after a horned rabbit yelling about food, don't run, and my guy just gets a front row seat to the whole chaotic circus. He's cringing in real time, watching them wildly flail around like maniacs, all to try and kill this adorable little bunny. Money, then they finally rip it down, snag a meat drop and go crazy cheering how clean their pacing is, while our guy just shrugs and says, yeah, I'm going even deeper. He immediately cracks the mystery of why this dungeon is famous. It's a one-stop grind spot for everyone from rookies to pros, where you can sell the loot and even chow down on monster meat, basically an entire living ecosystem trapped in a cave. By the time he hits the 5th floor, he's carving through goblins, then he clocks it. This is the sweet training spot and the perfect way to stack up money because farming trash mobs would be squandering his real potential. He tears through the early levels and rockets to the 6th floor, feeling way too proud of himself, then spots a strange pillar and can't help thinking, did I crank the difficulty too fast? So yeah, he decides to test it. Turns out it's a freaking fast travel system. He just thinks where he wants to go and boom, he's instantly on the floor he chose, like the 1st floor. He slaps his palm to the pillar and locks in his destination. And bam, he gets teleported out of thin air in the blink of an eye, and my dude is absolutely shook like, wait, is this actually real? He tells them he's back on floor 1, right at the entrance. And our boy straight up loses it, fanboying hard over those classic ice guy mechanics like it's the most perfect game ever. He starts hammering that teleport pillar, just non-stop spam like a kid with a brand new toy. Other adventurers are gawking at him, whispering that this weirdo newbie is losing it over the teleporter. Bro, act normal. After that little meltdown, he's stuck with a choice, keep grinding or break away to grab the maps for the next floors. He makes the smart call and hurries to the guild to copy maps and snag an early dinner before anyone else can. Then we're back on the 6th floor and it's swarming with forest wolves. He's already sick of fighting them, but at least the fur pays. He's insanely strong now, one sharp spear thrust and they're wiped out in a single shot. The best part, dungeon monsters leave nothing behind, so he keeps his drip spotless while his backpack is stuffed to the brim with loot. Alright, we're done messing around, wipe this floor clean and sprint to the next one. He bursts onto the 7th floor and instantly feels the difficulty spike hit like a truck, fresh layouts wow him, and brand new, tougher enemies start closing in. Dude yanks out his map, but the cop's place is a maze, every hallway looks identical and you're trapped in confusion. He snaps into full gamer mode, slaps chalk lines on the walls so he never gets turned around, pure old-school tactics for the win. He realizes that even with a map in hand, this place fights back and navigation turns into a total nightmare. Suddenly, bam, double trouble. A forest wolf and a cobbled try hit him at the same time, and he knows one miss means they've got him trapped for good. He goes straight for a first strike win, and in the blink of an eye he takes the wolf out. He lunges aside and dodges the Thugs Club swing on the cobbles. He whips out a flawless counterattack and turns the whole thing into a shish kebab. Job that makes 10 tag teams he's crushed. This guy is on fire, thanking the goddess for her blessing like it's fuel. He hunts down the main path again, guided by the chalk marks he left behind. He spirals over the monster AI, asking if different species actually coordinate their hits. Bro, you're in a dungeon, stop overthinking and just go slaughter something. He's acting like this is just a video game, scanning every corner like a paranoid mess, convinced traps and ceiling spikes are about to drop on him. After a brutal grind, he finally claws his way to the 11th floor, totally wrecked. He admits he'd underestimated the mid-tier floors, then decides to bail and get some rest right after he's done with his haul of fur. He can't hawk monster parts at the guild, so he bolts to a street stall right outside the dungeon. He strides up to the vendor, ready to unload his loot for cash. Man, this guy is blown away by how spotless the pelts are thanks to our MC's Purify skill, and he immediately offers 7 silver for just 4 of them. What a steal. He stumbles into the inn, then it hits him. This adventure is brutal, way beyond what he ever imagined. Next morning, he slings his magic stones for cash, hunts intel on floor 12, then bolts straight back in. Up on the 11th floor, he decides this spot fits his level way better. He decides to take it easy today, no speedrunning like a total maniac. But hold up, this dungeon suddenly swarms with people, and the lights blaze so bright I can't even see, so what the heck is happening? You catch snippets of a conversation from some adventurers, piece it all together, and boom, yesterday there was an orc farming event on floor 13. He still remembers the tip on these floors: orcs and desert cows spawn like crazy and orc meat sells for serious cash, so if he wants to get rich he better lock onto the right grind spot. He storms up to the 12th floor, telling himself he'll take it easy, but it feels just as effortless as the day before, so he keeps going, no stopping. His new mission is to blast his way up to the 16th floor, because he can feel it, something rotten is waiting there that even the local foodies refuse to touch. Right as he thinks he's safe, something massive slams out of the darkness and charges straight at him. That giant desert cow is stomping right there, and it looks absolutely furious. A four-legged, cow-shaped monster charges in, and our boy instantly clocks it as a desert cow, and trust me, charging straight at it is a terrible idea. He lunges in with a spear thrust, but it slams back like it hit steel, bouncing off with zero effect. The cow whips around for round 2 and he bolts back to his senses. Going for the heart is way too dangerous. Alright, plan B, he grins, whips out his magic and starts crafting a glowing light ball. But this cow's got insane reflexes. She dodges the spell like she knew it was coming, and yeah, bro absolutely didn't see it. A light bulb whams into the wall and right then, bam, the cow goes sliding on the freshly slick floor in the funniest slapstick moment ever. And he faceplants so brutally that brains burst everywhere across our MC. Yua gags. Then the second he starts, he purifies himself fast until the gore vanishes. When the monster's body disappears, it drops this weird, jiggling white blob just sitting there. He prods it and bam, it reeks of milk because it's literally a bag of milk from the desert cow. Then he straight up takes a sip and honestly, what an absolute madman. He keeps grinding, blasting through floors 13 to 15, and to his shock they're totally empty. At last on the 15th floor he spots his target. An orc finally ate. Meanwhile our boy slips into a bookstore and immediately spots a top-tier elf waifu posted right at the dungeon entrance. And yeah, my man is already down bad. He tries to flex like, go ahead, point to the book you're eyeing, and she's just standing there looking at it like, smooth, real smooth, my guy. She's like, oh thanks, and snatches the book right out of his hands. But then she steps way too close and bro's brain just totally glitches, full-on blue screen. She locks eyes with him and his face turns the color of a tomato instantly. Then he panics, blurts, sorry, never mind, I was mistaken, and bro, you totally fumbled the bag. And just like that she's gone, snapped out of his world. He's stuck there fuming, firing off calls because he wanted to flirt and chat her up, but his social skills are completely wrecked. He tries to steady his mind like, hey, meeting an elf is a win, then snaps back into action to chase his real mission, finding that grimoire. And would you look at that, the RNG gods smile on him and he stumbles on the sacred Holy Wind grimoire, instantly convinced that the elf was basically a living goddess of good luck. He hauls it outside and stares at the Holy Wind grimoire title like, what kind of insane skill is this supposed to be? My guy's first thought is, wait, can I turn this into a portable AC blowin' hot and cold? Bro, you're not using a Dyson, this is magic, so he tests it right there back at the inn. Right then, chaos erupts at the local church, like the whole place just exploded with noise. Everyone's bunching up around. Yeah, it's not a party at all. The vibe is way too intense, like something big is about to explode. There's this guy down on his knees, begging God to bless his last weapon, and the entire crowd is roaring for him like he's about to pull off the impossible. He slams his hands together and roars as the armor locks in and strengthens. He's squaring up on the church steps, trying to pull off a high-risk weapon upgrade that could go horribly wrong in seconds. The moment the blade ignites with a bright glow, everyone freezes and holds their breath, because this is really happening. Then it all shatters into dust. Big L, the guy's wrecked, sobbing because 5 years of his adventure life just got burned to nothing. Our MC just stands on the sidelines like, bro, you're really going all out for this, huh? A priest rolls up and asks our boy, you next for the gear-bricking ceremony? And he's like, nah, fam, I'm just rubbernecking. The priest straight up tells him that all this strengthening nonsense is just superstition. Back ages ago, a few chads pulled it off and now everybody acts like they're built for it, until they mess up, lose their minds and rage quit, smashing straight into the church. It got so wild that the priests had to outright ban it, but these guys still keep showing up, chasing losses, sinking deeper into debt and gambling their gear away. Our MC tilts his head to the sky, baffled, wondering why God would ever build a system this absolutely pepiga. He's spiraling in an existential panic, questioning the god who tossed him into this messed up world like it's some twisted game. Yo, space god, spill it. What's up with this brutal RNG that keeps screwing me over? Next morning, my dude's yawning like he hasn't slept in days, because he was up all night, locked in with those new magic books, studying like his life depended on it. Turns out that grimoire he stumbled on, it's crazy useful. It teaches him how to cure poison and even paralysis. But that poor guy's sword turning to ash haunts his mind, and the danger is just too damn high. He's digging through the world's secrets, lining up clues about the church and every failed enhancement like they're screaming the truth. Yeah, but still it doesn't sit right. No time to waste, back to the grind, sprint to the 16th floor of the dungeon. This floor is a whole different world, dark, gloomy, and oppressive. My guy can practically feel the temperature dropping around him. Quick lore drop: levels 10 to 18 are overrun with undead, and once you hit 19 to 20, ghosts come out to haunt you. Spooky season is officially in full swing. He yanks out his map, and right there it screams about floor traps and poison needles. And yeah, he's spooked, no question. He drops to inspect the floor tile by tile, hunting for anything that looks suspicious. He's smug as hell until, good thing I've got healing magic, because these traps weren't built for a clean win. He starts drumming his staff on the floor like he's defusing a bomb, and then, bam, he hits a pressure plate. He's basking in his win, riding that confidence for a full, smug second. Until a volley of spikes blasts out of the wall, he barely slips away, yelling, "Wait, that isn't an instant death trap. Bro, those things are pencil-sized, and if they hit him, they would have splattered him into a literal human pink cushion." He finally understands this dungeon isn't playing around. If he wants to survive, he better get a whole lot more careful. Right on cue, a skeleton bursts out of nowhere with a classic jump scare. My boy completely loses it, but his reflexes are razor sharp, and he slips away with a flawless dodge. He squares up and crackles with tension, ready to throw down. That walking pile of bones creeps him out, but his old-world instincts kick in and keep him alive. Pure ice guy logic: no muscles, no strength, and somehow it's fine to him. He zeroes in on the classic RPG weak spot. There it is, a glowing magic stone buried in his chest. But this ain't some beginner scrub. This skeleton parries his spear like it's been trained for years, and the damage hits like a truck. The blade work is levels above the orcs, and our MC is getting absolutely crushed trying to keep pace. He finally spots his opening and drives in with a razor-sharp clean pierce. But the skeleton just shrugs it off like it's nothing and keeps marching forward even after taking damage to its bones. He finally realizes he has to snipe that magic stone dead on. With a few slick feints, he darts in, slips the skeleton's swing, and snaps it apart with a lightning-fast spin. He follows through and drives his hand straight into it, like a move meant to hurt. With one last brutal thrust, he cracks the skeleton apart and turns it into a pile of bones. GG. And man, the mobs on the 16th floor are ruthless. But when he cracks open the loot, the magic stone is shattered. Welp, guess that's the price of winning and losing. He eyes the skeleton's rusty sword, then shuts it down and moves on. He admits he's got zero talent with a sword, and on top of that, it's so huge there's no way it fits in his inventory anyway. His new problem is battling these things in pitch-black darkness. Yeah, that's a straight-up heart-stopping yikes. He's got a bright idea. He whips out a light spell and uses it to scout ahead. He flings ball of light, and the beam snaps on so fast it reveals a skeleton staring him straight in the face. Then the spell goes totally feral, bam. It crashes into Heimha and detonates on impact, ripping the skeleton to pieces. He's stunned and genuinely impressed, because this light spell isn't just pretty, it actually hits hard with a 10-meter blast radius. At least he's finally got proof it actually works. He storms into the next room, and confidence surges through him. Bam, another skeleton lunges out for a jump scare. Oh no, this is a real haunted house. He screams as he tries to fire off a holy light spell this time. The skeleton just glares at him, stone cold and completely unshaken. The spell fizzles out with a pathetic little pop, then goes nowhere at all, a total dud. He slumps down, defeated, and finally gets it. Those jump scares hit harder than the fights ever did. He even whips out his brand new Holy Wind spell, but dude, you can't heal what's already dead. He grabs a quick snack, bolts to the toilet, and stews on how insanely embarrassing it is to waste time casting spells that just refuse to work. He hits a fork in the road, heart pounding, completely torn over which path to take. He barely squeezes out of yet another trap, too close to fate. And out of nowhere, an orc comes charging in, gripping the sword he ripped from one of the skeletons he smashed earlier. Wrestling down a weapon-wielding orc is way harder than taking on some mindless skeleton. After that brutal brawl, his holy light spell finally surges to the next level, and he's pushing forward, making real progress. Feeling jacked up, he fires off a fresh move at the next skeleton, Purify. But it changes nothing. This skeleton just keeps getting crazier, like it's energized to the max, and he's left utterly baffled because his magic simply won't work. He jukes out of the attack and glares at his magic like, "Why did you just bail on me?" He barrels right in and tries to purify, again, and this time the skeleton explodes into holy flames. He finally cracks it. This spell only kicks in when you're right up on them, and that is the worst possible setup for a fight. But hey, he just dropped a grimoire and I'm like, let's go. It's the sacred Holy Fire Grimoire, prime magic written in legend, and he's on a mission to collect every single one. He spots the safest spot he can find and tests his brand new toy. Holy fire, he roars, and a tiny white flame ignites in his hand. He was expecting a huge fireball, then this thing just drifts there like it's weightless and he's completely baffled. Then it just kicks off, soaring on its own like it's got a mind of its own. It crawls across the wall at a snail's pace. Are you kidding me? This has to be the most underwhelming spell ever. And then it suddenly blasts open with a massive magical force because it's a sticky bomb made of magic. Alright, he's got a plan, and now he's ready to put it to the test on some skeletons. He starts spiraling over the dungeon's loot system. Why would a skeleton weak to holy magic drop a holy magic grimoire? It makes zero sense. He spots another skeleton and goes, perfect test dummy, and then he's fully convinced the drops are just pure RNG. He slams down holy fire. The skeleton spots the floating flame and jolts back in pure fear, refusing to step any closer. Honestly, for a bag of bones, that's a smart move. Then the skeleton whips around and bolts, and our boy has to sprint after it, yelling, "Wait, you can't run." He finally traps it in a dead-end alley, nowhere left to run. He hurls the fireball, and that blinding white flame starts searing the skeleton the second it hits. He fires off a fresh blast right after that, and seals the deal with a final purify, just to make sure it's gone for good. It's working like magic. Wait, what's this? A fresh grimoire drop right on cue, and the RNG is absolutely unhinged today. But wait, this one's pitch black, and yeah, it screams something S off. So the boys go hunting for that brand new drop, a grimoire called *** Fire of Chaos ***. His gamer brain instantly screams, "Oh, chaos!" Like that RPG-style disaster is the exact opposite of a smart big brain moment, right? So yeah, demons on the dark side and my dudes just connecting the dots, boom, instant edgelord level magic. And I'm like, wait, hold up, I swear I've seen some quarter devil races on the character creation screen and they had chaos powers. So if holy magic is born in the holy realm, then chaos magic has to be its dark evil twin from the chaos realm. Meanwhile, Sherlock Holmes over here is putting all the pieces together. He grabs his brand new discovery and hits the town, ready to show it off. But the moment he asks to get it appraised, the shopkeeper lady shuts him down. "Nah, we don't take trash for your grimoires." She straight up labels it defective and worthless. Oof. These defective books are so worthless they might as well be firewood, Elmo. Our boy won't buy that for a second. If holy magic is real, then chaos magic has to be real too. Maybe it's just been locked away in his memory. He drifts into a tavern to think things through, ordering stewed rabbit, and all the while he's convinced someone out there is desperate enough to reach for that chaos power. Then my guy goes full philosopher, sipping his ale like, is this chaos just some chess move for a god, or are they all just vibing? He's drowning in deep thoughts, but somehow, dude still has zero clue what's going on in this world. But he's like, whatever, why stress over stuff he can't even answer? Time to lock in, grind hard, and level up his new spell, Holy Fire. He flags down the cat girl waifu for a refill and with that smooth voice, asks for the usual like it's always been his. Then, plot twist, the elf lady from the bookstore pops up with a snack, tells him it's gonna be a while, and he goes, yeah, I knew it, but bro, you did not. She's just chowing down, looking absolutely adorable the whole time. Bro's so awkward it's painful like, hi there, totally trying to act smooth. She remembers him perfectly, the guy who bought the book. Our MC's just relieved he wasn't totally invisible. She leans in and fires off, so how did that spirit magic book turn out? Then she straight up dares him to talk it out over a drink. Come on, let's go. And our MC is absolutely rattled. He's really going for a drink with an ELF like the purest ice sky fantasy just walked into his life. He tracks her straight to her table, and when he arrives, her party's already kicked back. Turns out her name is Elise. They look like a legendary adventure crew, standing there like they're one spark away from diving headfirst into a quest. Natasha's partner gets called a kid by Elise, like Elise isn't probably about 1,000 years old herself. Classic elf flex. The big guy at the table just jabs a finger at our MC and blurts, "So, what's the deal with this kid?" Then this other loudmouth dude starts going off and he's like, Eris would hook up with a kid anywhere. Bro, what? Meanwhile our MC is just trying to stay alive and not get vaporized. Finally, real intros, meet Rook, the boy of the ship, alongside Elise, Natasha, Raidas who doesn't know how to be quiet, and Roja, the one calling all the shots. And just like that, party time, cheers. So they start rambling about the book and Elise just drops a nuke. Yeah, that book's trash. Not even an elf wrote it, straight-up gatekeeping level 100. She swears 60% is straight-up facts and the other 40% pure fanfiction, and our guy just blurts, wait, what? Like if you're such an expert, why'd you buy it in the first place? Elise says she was just curious, wondering if there was anything she didn't know yet. A real scholar. Meanwhile, the cat girl slides the food over, and our guy's left standing there like he's invisible, third-wheeling his own date with that tough luck stare. Turns out Elise's favorite dish isn't just one of them, she demolishes it every single day without missing a beat. Party's like, yep, that's why she barely touches meat, and our guy steps up and goes, want mine. He tries it out and boom, he's totally floored. This is unreal, so THATS what it feels like when an elf catches my man having a full-on culinary awakening. Natasha's locked onto those fried oysters while Raidas leans in like a bully trying to push our MC into eating more meat like that's what makes you a real man. Toxic masculinity alert. But our boy's just vibing, lost in thought. Because honestly, I've always wanted to team up with badass adventurers and with an elf in his ice sky dream for real. He can't tell if it's pure RNG or some wild destiny twist, but one thing is for sure, he's absolutely loving every bite of this incredible food. Meanwhile, in some totally separate castle, a girl keeps yelling Mr. and Hero, and the guy goes, whoa, hold up, I'm not the hero. She asks who he is, and the other girl at the table just stares like, is this girl a saint? While she keeps shoveling food into her mouth. St. Lucina is straight up going all out, shamelessly flirting with the so-called hero. She's down bad, no doubt. He's clearly not built for this, stuttering her name just Luciana. Meanwhile, his wingman barely doing anything. 8, I'm out. Time to roll up, grab some cuties and make it a total Chad move. Luciana won't let up, he's all over the place with that touchy-feely training excuse and the man's sweating like crazy. The other girl hurls face bombs, clocking what a simp this guy is for falling for Lucian, and she tears him apart for running cheap tricks, while the bishop in the back looks completely fed up with the whole mess. Then this total nerd named Henrik barrels in out of nowhere, interrupting everything just to gush like a fanboy over some book. He won't stop bragging about this elf, Gallardo Rockstein, the legendary hero who clapped the Demon King and swears the book is basically scripture. Luciano's like, alright, cool story bro, but nah, I'm not buying it and I don't want the lure. But Henrik won't drop it for a second, hammering home that this elf hero is the strongest around, while the other girl just cringes in the background. He's totally convinced this canon guy will back him up, but everyone else is giving E8 energy, so Rook just locks eyes with this blonde dude, who's got his hand planted on his sword and it screams trouble. And just like that it clicks, bro gets the vibe check instantly. See, dungeons are basically the Wild West, straight-up lawless zones where somebody can get murked and nobody pays a price, so when you meet strangers you better lock in and stay on high alert. The ladies in the group are whispering about how cute Rook is, but the main dude doesn't look away for a second. He's locked in because he knows our boy is a solo player. Meanwhile, Rook's panicking in his head. Should he fight? This guy looks like total trouble, and he's even keeping his dominant hand open, ready to strike if things go wrong. The whole squad has him locked in their sights. Man, the tension is practically screaming. Then that lady snaps into the conversation. She thought she heard someone, but you're just a kid. Rook gets caught off guard and blurts, yeah, I'm just taking a break, because she's staring at him like, why are you alone looking that suspicious? Her blonde buddy wastes no time and starts roasting her, are you for real? I had told her not to pry into personal stuff with other adventurers, and just because he's a kid doesn't mean she should drop her guard. She finally catches on and warns Rook to watch his step before they head out. Our boy flashes a tiny peace sign, "Oh, you too, ma'am," and just like that, classic polite MC energy hits. The second they're gone, he exhales like he survived, grateful they weren't rogues, even admitting he dropped his guard a little too fast. That guy kept shooting him the side-eye the whole time, and still, they couldn't even spot Rook right there in front of him. Guess the stealth skill actually came through. He shakes it off, no more excuses, let's move because this is the 19th floor and he's gotta suss out the whole lay of the land right now. The whole place feels 10 times more intense now, and if he loses that map for even a second, he's finished. The cold bites so hard it feels like the world froze in place, and he can't help wondering if ghosts are the ones messing with time. Suddenly, bam, a freaking skeleton jumps out and tackles his world, and before he even clocks it, he realizes he's been getting terrified the whole time. But my man is a total pro now, all right, same as usual, he says, and somehow he's actually relieved to see a skeleton, so what's he gonna do next? He slips the attack, then boom, he lands a crisp kick to the dome and takes him out instantly. Easy. He plops down to collect the drop, smirking like, "Heh, even if I'm not fully equipped, their moves are toast here, I've got the 19th floor." Then he catches a sound down the hall and his stomach drops because it's probably that party he just ran into. Turns out the go-to plan for floors 19 and 20 is simple. Sprint like your life depends on it, blow past everything and slam straight into the transfer device on floor 21, because the only mobs there are ghosts and skeletons and the loot drops. Total garbage, just trashed your tears. But our boy is a total level-up grinder. He's out here studying the game like it's a science project. He's not doing that boring speedrun life. Nah, he's clearing this floor the right way. He catches that creepy hee-hee laugh and his stomach drops as he starts wondering, is a ghost messing with him? You bet it is. One massive, spooky ghost phases straight through reality right in front of him. He freezes for a split second, completely rattled. The ghost slips straight through him and drills right into his soul, and bro is losing it, screaming at the top of his lungs. Crap, it's a real ghost, and it's got him in a chokehold from the inside, draining him dry. He taps into his inner paladin and blasts out his ultimate anti-spook move, a spinning ball of light. The holy power hits that ghost like a meteor, and wipes it out clean. Rook crumples to the ground, coughing like his lungs are on fire. Yeah, that was way too close. Man, that was brutal, he gasps, looks up, and boom, he spots the ghost dropping a magic stone, and somehow he finally nailed it with his holy light spell. He's still trembling from that encounter, no wonder other adventurers dodge this floor like it's cursed. Me, I'm not signing up for ghosts either. He's totally freaked out, but at least he walked away with a magic stone. Hold up, this stone's way darker than the rest. Is this one of those rare drops that spits out a magic crystal? If it is, that's gotta be insanely expensive. He's already seconds from turning back, but the moment he imagines Elise and Natasha laughing in his face, his pride slams the door shut. He flips through his dungeon manual for ghost info, but the sketches are so awful they don't teach anything, they just make everything in the dark feel way scarier. It was nothing but a pathetic little ghost doodle, totally useless. He's like, maybe I should write a better guide for everyone. Then he hears that creepy hee-hee again and it hits him, those ghost-proof steps from the strategy he learned might be the only way out. Not this time. He whips around, spots a creepy voice lurking behind him and screams, "Ball of light." The ghost detonates on the spot and he actually nailed it. He's feeling like a heavyweight now, screaming, "Suck it, come back if you want, I'll blow you up, you ghost." But even so, he's still shaking, all that talk is just bravado. He starts trying his other spells, one's a ball of light, another's holy fire, and when he checks the results, it's basically the same story as fighting skeletons. Of course the holy wind does nothing, he's losing it, screaming arg, like, "I get it, stop chasing me." After farming for a bit, he finally reaches the transfer device, and since no mobs spawn nearby, he breathes easy for the first time. Then he pulls out his holy fire to test how long it lasts, already plotting to use it when disaster hits. Back at the guild, he unloads the one magic crystal he snagged, and the receptionist practically explodes with excitement. She swears a D rank can rake in 6 gold coins for that bad boy. Then Merle, the guild chief, zooms in just to confirm his rank up request. She snatches his card, checks every requirement off, then bam, promotes him straight to D rank. Let's go. She practically explodes with excitement, yanking out a hammer and chisel to carve his brand new rank, and she grins, "I love this part of the job." While he just blurts, "Huh, love what?" She starts pounding on his guild card with laser focus, and it instantly sends him into full-blown panic. With a few last words, she slides it right back. Here you go, congratulations on your promotion. He finally learns how this guild really works. They don't care about connections or your big name, they rank you up by how many magic stones you bring in and how good they are. She tells him that every town and labyrinth plays by its own rules, different monsters, different traits, so the rank up system shifts depending on where you're fighting. That night, he's curled up in bed, still shaking from the memory of that ghost snatching him, pure chills. But now he knows Elm is the perfect spot to farm magic crystals and level up fast, so he throws the covers aside and shouts, "Answer my call and show me the way, I summon thee, fairy." Liz appears, but she just keeps staring into this strange, dead, empty void, and the moment he sees it, confusion hits him like a wave. Something's definitely off, she's usually bursting with energy, but right now she's gone totally quiet. Liz still won't look at him and he can't help but panic. Where the heck did his cheerful bestie go? She blurts out why. And that's when it hits him, wait, it's been about 30 days since I last called for her. My man straight up ghosted his own fairy for a whole month. Bro, what are you doing? He launches into damage control, flailing his hands like a total maniac. Ah, sorry, I was slammed with work. I didn't mean to ignore you, it's not like I hate you or anything, I don't hate you at all, okay? She starts sobbing, convinced he's hated her the whole time, imagining him living some perfect fairy tale with friends and family, while she's just been cut off and forgotten, and yeah, she's been down bad the entire time. He's stunned that she's so excited about his coals, and then he makes a pinky promise to call her the right way from now on. A few days later, he's back in the dungeon, clawing his way up to the 22nd floor, fighting through brutal battles and a pounding mind, all while Lisa's voice keeps dragging him forward, so he even summons her inside the dungeon to keep his promise. Once he realized he had somewhere to return, and someone waiting, fresh fire surged through him, and he refused to quit his solo adventure. While he munches on his food, he suddenly thinks, I've got to grab her a souvenir, because the truth hits him hard, having her around matters more than anything. Alright, back to it, he's at a brand new door and he's not wasting a second. He slips a peek inside and there they are, two undead just waiting to ambush him. On the right, a skeleton rattles, on the left, a ghost floats in pure classic horror duo. He goes straight for the skeleton first. Oh sacred fire, bring your silence here, holy fire. To the impure, may your soul rest in peace, boom, the skeleton gets incinerated. Then he whips around, smashes the ghost with a purify strike, and the air snaps with power. Success, he's been training with all kinds of holy magic, not just his light balls, and now it's finally paying off big time. Hold up, what's that? The ghost just dropped an item, a blue grimoire, no way, that's straight up luck, pure SD or RNG. This grimoire's a holy spellbook, basically a conjuring playground, so he knows monsters won't spawn in a cramped little room, which means he can test it right here, safe and sound. With a vow in his breath and the perfect place in mind, he drives his sacred power into the grimoire, then unleashes the spell like a thunderclap. Blinding wave of light crashes over him. Magic surges outward, lighting up the whole room in a burst of glow. Oso asterisk, this is what it looks like. It's basically a radar spell wrapped in exploratory magic. This is about to be insanely useful. You can literally see through walls and doors, like real clairvoyance, no joke. It blasts a 10-meter radius in every direction, and it even hits when his eyes are open, straight up unreal. He can even spot monsters through the walls, and that insane power gives him the upper hand in every fight. As he strolls around with his brand new wall hack power, it feels like something is still missing. He figures it's only because he's brand new to this world, and all this fresh information keeps crashing into his head faster than he can even make sense of it. He stares at the dungeon's outer edge, but those thick walls block everything, he can't see a single thing beyond them. With his brand new power, he hunts the alleyway and maps out the dead end. This magic is a lifesaver. He's stalking along the wall, and this part is way thicker than the others, like something is about to go terribly wrong. He checks his map, blank. Then his radar blares that a room sits on the other side. So what's the deal? Is there a hidden room nobody's found yet? He starts groping for a switch on the wall or maybe the floor, because he can't shake the gut feeling that the whole wall is secretly the entrance. Or maybe it's tucked away in the side passage. He even weighs using force. But nope, he's no bandit and he's no stone mason either. He can't smash his way through this because right now it's straight up impossible. He crumpled to the floor, then stared at the ceiling like a plan was forming, going back to the guild to beg Elise for help. Then he spots something on the ceiling, a block that's a weird, slightly different size. Is it bait for a trap or just a nasty crack? He decides to jab it with his spear, then he realizes the ceiling hangs about 6 meters above. He jabs it, bam, and the whole wall swings open like it was waiting for him, and even if he doesn't notice, his stats are already maxed out because this isn't the same guy he used to be. And right there on the altar inside, there's a bag sitting like it's waiting for someone to open it. Still, he hesitates. What if the door snaps shut and the only thing waiting in that bag is a rat? He can't just YOLO his way into the room. So he flicks his spear out and snatches it in a blink. 1, 2, 3, yaw ink. He snatches the bag and holds his breath, waiting for anything to go wrong, but nothing hits, and those few suspicious glances, they say it's safe. He yanks the pouch open and gives it a sharp once-over, leather and cloth, just a normal waist pouch at first glance. But the second he peeks inside, all he sees is pitch black, nothing, absolute void. He jammed his massive spear in, and the whole thing just disappeared into the bag. Whoa. No doubt about it, he finally grabbed a magical inventory bag with his own hands. Huo, this is unreal. His dungeon grind is about to get way easier from here on out. He decides to stash it for now and come back later to check it the right way. He knows he has to keep this buried, because Mel and Dan warned him that magic bags are insanely rare and worth a fortune, meaning anyone would try to hunt him down for them. Right as he's about to leave, a ghost rips out of the wall. Hee. Our guy just strolls on like it's nothing. Hi there. Boom, now the ghost is the one who looks totally rattled. That conjuring location spell is straight up op. Now he can spot ghosts sneaking through the walls and even purify them. Yeah, another one bites the dust. What the heck is this? A white magic stone? Another rare drop, and I'm straight up swimming in good luck today. His RNG is absolutely blazing. As he storms out of the dungeon, the guards clock that he's in a great mood. Nice work, did you bag a drop? He just flashes a grin. Yuha, yeah, it was a superb one. He had zero clue that the useful grimoire and that magical bag he just snagged would blow everything wide open later, and now the search is going great. But what if trouble is about to strike? So our boy saunters up to the guild, ready to cash in and put his new magic bag to work, but bro, the place is absolutely packed. He's convinced that Op Satchel will give him away, so he hunkers down, waits out the heat, and figures he might as well spend some coin on fresh gear while he's already there. You know the deal, spend that cash to pull it back, right? Now let's talk drip. He starts doing mental math, remembering how those dark magic crystals were rare and fetched a solid price. Then he can't stop worrying whether this new white one will hit the same numbers or if it's going to be trash for his draw. Rose started spiraling with paranoia, convinced he'd regret selling it if it turned out to be a super rare item, and then he thought maybe he should run it by a blacksmith or an alchemist first, get it appraised, and play it smart. Yeah, never mind, he's keeping it. He shoves that shiny rock into a pouch and swears it feels totally different from a normal light magic crystal. The second he tucks it away, some clown named Alright shows up, and our guy starts clomping up random stairs straight for another L. And yep, there he goes, crashing face first into the bed like a brick, completely done for. But the guild lady won't play, she snaps, I'm done with this. You're about to spill how you scored those light magic crystals or I'm gonna hex you into next week. Our boy flashes his smoothest smile and goes, whoa there my guy, this is top secret. If I blurt it out I'll get arrested and dissected for my sacred magic. This isn't some casual talk, this is high-level negotiation, you feel me? The guild master won't buy a second of it. He's basically like, I get it, you want your secrets safe, but we're getting that info. And then the lady straight up grabs his face like she's down so bad for intel it's embarrassing. So our MC has to whip up a lie at lightning speed. He insists it's just a misunderstanding and claims the light magic crystal was a gift. He spins this whole story about how he helped out during that massive monster stampede, and a friend hands it to him like, here, thanks. Then he even throws in the Langford Guild name to make it sound real and swears it was all a goddess's blessing. Bro's bluffing skills are on another level, no cap. Later he sprawls in bed, grinning at how his 500 IQ move actually hit, and it's still working. Paranoia slams in. He's posted up in that tavern, scanning the place like a hawk, clocking every one of us. A guild guy, a random dude from the dining hall, and yeah, he's a wanted man. He's panicking over his next move. Does he spill everything to Elise and the squad, or does he take on the guild alone? And the worst part, the Wings of Light are hunting those same crystals too, so the whole group's on edge like a loaded weapon. Man pulled an all-nighter, drilling his magic until dawn, and now he's staggering through town like a sleep-deprived zombie. He stops dead, snatches an apple like it's no big deal and tries to play it cool. But the vibe feels wrong, he clocks it instantly. Someone's been tailing him and he's done busted. He slips into the Adventurers Guild and the place is jammed to the rafters, even though it's barely noon, so yeah, something's definitely off. Dude, it's like he opened the gate and just watched a whole swarm of orcs spawn, so tell me, why is everybody here? He hustles down to the transfer monument room on the 20th floor, then click asterisk. No way are you messing with me. Adventurers are storming down from the 20th floor monument on full alert, like my guy knows they're coming straight for him. He's got that 8-bait energy, time to bail. He rockets down to the 19th floor, but they're still right behind him, closing in as he barrels into the dungeon where the light barely exists. And yeah, these aren't just any guys, they're high-ranking for sure. He rockets down to the 18th floor. His pursuers are boiling with rage because in the dark they straight up lost him. Crap, where did he vanish to? But our boy can see in the dark like it's daytime, easy clap, and he's already convinced he can bolt past them, then swing back and hit the transfer monument on the 16th floor. He storms up to the 16th floor and spots two dudes just hanging there, no sudden ambush, just like they're planted as guards. He finally cracks it, this dungeon crowd is a setup built for him. Priority 1, he's getting out of there, no questions asked. He spots another party charging down the hall and boom, this galaxy brain plan hits him. Use them as a human shield. He's about to just stroll right out with them, acting like it's totally normal, like he only ran into them by accident. Guards keep scanning everywhere, totally lost. Where the heck did that guy vanish to? Our boy sprints for the teleporter, slamming right past the party, and the guards instantly howl, "Oi, it's him." He whips around and sees it. Everywhere he looks, he's boxed in and it's already all over. But wait, right when everything looks hopeless, his party crashes in out of nowhere. Elise, Rada, and Rook are here to flip the whole situation, and Rook immediately starts squaring up with the mob like, "What's wrong with y'all? Got a problem with us? Total Chad move." And Elise, bless her heart, is basically like, "Come on guys, move. If we don't hurry, our seats at the restaurant are gonna get snatched up." Wei Fu's priorities are on point. Later that day, the two of them storm back to the inn. RMC tears himself away, finally saying goodbye to his tiny fairy companion. Night drops like a curtain, and it's go time for the great escape. He finally hooks up with Rada, who's been waiting on him. "Alright, let's move." They burst into the streets and MCs are already stuffing everything into his magic bag, but trouble's right behind them. Raiders are like, "You realize 3 dudes are tailing us and our guys clock it fast with their sharp instincts." Raiders shove them forward, deeper into a pitch-black alley. Those followers, like mindless NPCs, just march right after them. Then their brains go quiet because they think they've lost their targets for good. Surprise, boom, it was a trap. His other friends were lurking in the shadows, poised to ambush the ambushers, and yeah, these guys are clutch. He kept shaking, demanding answers, because they're risking everything just to help him escape. Turns out they'd all met earlier. When they pieced it together, they realized the guild had the city on lockdown and slapped a bounty on his head, because they're convinced he's the key to the secret behind light magic crystals. The entire city's on high alert, and the guild quietly fired off shady requests, begging anyone to stop him at any cost. Turns out the guild master runs on pure chaos, and yeah, this whole mess is the smoking gun. We're slipping out of the city under the radar, then booking it straight for the Republic of Canada. But before anything else, they've got to cross that main street through a checkpoint, because you can bet your life it's being watched like a hawk. Elise shoves Rook behind her and scans the scene, then spots a guard. Then she locks onto a dog like, "Come on, work with me, buddy." MC blurts what, then yanks her bow out like she's about to unleash something right now. With one legendary shot, she nails the dog's leash and snaps it loose. Then the dog explodes into a sprint, and just like that, she's got the perfect distraction, absolute legend. MC's a bit disappointed it wasn't some wild explosion spell, but the moment they hit the plan, it worked, so they sprint for their lives. Meanwhile, Radas and Natasha are busy running their own pack of followers, fully locked in and moving fast. They spot 2 more ambushers crouched nearby, trying way too hard to look sneaky and failing miserably like sad little fools. They're both blown away by our MC. No normal daranker could clear 20 floors and still make Elise look twice, so yeah, he's definitely hiding some insanely op skills. They hit the rendezvous spot, only to realize it's a fresh trap waiting to spring. A whole mob of goons is waiting there, ready to pounce on them. Raid just smirks like he's itching for a brawl, so how about we let him prove it and play for a while. Back with our MC, he's spiraling and it's eating him up, his friends are on his mind. Elise snaps to him that these guys are probably putting on a friendly mask just to swipe his secrets. This snaps him back to those fairy lies that gave him some cryptic hint about all of this. He bolts into a flashback, replaying every fairy lie, and all her cryptic riddles come rushing back like a curse. The pig one's about a giant boar stampede, and the rain one? Yeah, it's literally just rain, okay, maybe she's awful at riddles, but he's finally starting to catch on. Then it hits him, she's been slipping him glimpses of the future this whole time, all to keep him safe. She's basically his magical GPS when the story starts spiraling and he's completely lost. He snaps to it, answers my call on the spot, and guides me like a fairy with a hidden route. He finally spills the truth and then chooses to lie instead, handing over his full trust to her without hesitation. This ties right back to his chat with Elise. She straight up grilled him, asking if their followers were only pretending to play nice. She straight up called him out, saying the second he spotted her light magic crystal, his whole vibe screamed sus. She bluntly demands to know if he's tracking them. That boy shoots out yet another lie. He swears he's only trying to learn spirit magic, and the crystals are supposedly the key. He hits you with some wild, brainy magic wavelength knowledge just to hype it up and sell it. Elise snaps at him to shut his mouth right away because that's a secret elven technique. Nice move, genius. Right now, at the city wall, they're racing to climb it before anything stops them. Alyssa's search magic keeps failing, she finds nothing. But our MC's passive perception is turned all the way up. He instantly clocks one lone guard crouched on a rooftop. He points at the guy perched on the chimney, and Elise's jaw drops, her magic flat-out failed. She chose a black arrow as a diversion, pure gamble, but they had zero other plays left. They both brace like the next second is about to explode. Out of nowhere, a colossal blast detonates across downtown, like the RNG gods just hit the jackpot. That roof guard gets snagged by something and the MC realizes this is their one shot, so when the guard starts tailing me like it's totally normal, MC knows they're done for if they don't move now. They dash off and man, Elise is absolutely lightning fast. They climb that wall in a flash and slip over unseen, no alarms, no eyes on them. Come on, let's go. On the other side, they're staring at the aftermath like, wait, what was that explosion? And MC can't shake the fear that his friends didn't just wipe out a whole city block for his sake. He figures the Raiders and Natasha are just built different and they probably cooked up the whole thing as a distraction. Next, they grab their rope and get ready to roll out by carriage. But something's off, Roja isn't on their ride and this screams trap all over again. His search magic pings something, only it's not a person at all. It's a massive, deadly wolf lurking deep in the woods. Bam, an ambush explodes, arrows scream through the air and Elise gets nailed mid-surge. Another volley smashes into them and pins them where they stand, an ambush roaring out of the dark. Elise's breathing turns frantic, she's seen this exact tactic before and it's screaming trouble. It wasn't an arrow that hit her, it was a poison dart and the arrows were just a decoy to throw her off. She crumples to the ground and our boy instantly panics like his whole world just flipped. The wolf bursts out, this whole ambush was its doing, pretending to be a monster just to fool his search magic. Then our hero hurls a blazing ball of light and blasts it apart. The wolf bolts and at the exact right moment, their carriage screeches to a stop with Rojason. What the hell, he erupts in a yell, and our boy screams that Elise has been poisoned. They scramble into the carriage and bolt out of there like the ground is on fire. Elise is fading fast, this poison is top tier, and the MC snaps open a box packed with antidotes. Roja tells him use them, while she takes over the chase. And by handle he means going full beast mode, blurting sorry and then hitting like, yeah, I'm not holding back. He blasts out a gigantic sword slash and just boom, every last pursuer drops at once, total monster. But the antidote refuses to work, Ailes is so weak he can't even lift a cup to his lips. MC flashes back to how good everyone's been to him and he can't afford to fail them because now, it's time to pull out his trump card. He unleashes a holy wind, dumping every last ounce of his magic into healing her. He won't stop, he keeps chanting louder and louder. The entire carriage erupts in bright lights like a Christmas tree and Roja is losing his mind, screaming what the hell. And it works, by morning the lease is spotless and Roja can barely breathe with shock. Wait, did you just cast a recovery spell? Roja snaps into action, steering the pursuers off their trail, while the MC and Ahil Delise slip through the forest and vanish. They hand him a huge pile of gear and tell him, this is the least we can do after you saved her life. They realized this attack was way too coordinated to be random thugs. The poison and tactics are straight-up pro level, so they're eyeing the guild and they even suspect receptionist Alicia might be in on it. Elise snaps her gaze to him and demands to know why they're coming after him. She spills the whole truth. He can cure deadly poison, he can track anything like its instinct, and he even cracked a brand new way to farm light magic crystals, and honestly that makes him way too overpowered to stay a nobody. She decides to stash the interrogation for later, because hey, friends don't go digging. He tells them, please pass my thanks to the rest of the crew. With one last dramatic wave, they break apart and go their separate ways. Walking alone, he sinks into memories of everyone he's ever met, and the whole moment hits like a bittersweet gut punch. But he refuses to stop. He surges ahead and scrambles up the jagged rocky cliffside, one desperate handhold at a time. He finally climbs to the top, and when he looks out, the ocean hits him like the first breath of a whole new world. A whole new world, his fresh start is blazing ahead, and he's surging forward with nothing but hope in his heart. Alright, so our boy swings by this local spot and the chef slaps down this giant grilled fish that looks absolutely unreal, like, you can practically smell the flavor. This adorable waitress pops up like, yo, there's a trick to eating this, and my dudes are just locked in on the food. He takes this massive bite, and instantly he's in Flavor Town because no one's had grilled fish this good in forever. Girls crack into it, then give it one huge swig of ale and start chasing hard. He yanks it back with a brutal slam and his eyes fly wide like he just spotted a shiny legendary drop. Oh, that's delicious. That fishy flavor and the ale hit together like a knockout punch, pure, unforgettable ester goodness in every bite. She tells them the mountain water up here hits different, making the ale op, so of course everyone's lining up to order it. Back in the shadows, some ancient dwarf tries to preach that ale is for men, then this absolute cat-girl chaos machine shuts him down on the spot. The dwarf isn't even mad, he's just like, yeah, that's why our women are so fine. The ale makes them charming and my man's spitting straight facts. Our MC, meanwhile, soaks up the good vibes. He ditched his old party and sprinted south straight to the port city of Ruta. And just look at this kid waitress, she's back for another round like she's a full-on legend. Back when he first trekked here, my dude camped alone, blasting his holy fire to forge this monster-proof barrier just so he could finally sleep, but yeah, it was smart and painfully lonely. Finally, he bursts into Ruta, grabs a room to resupply and starts digging for intel. It's basically a whole town stacked on one giant hill. He calls it the city of slopes and staircases. He's out sightseeing when he suddenly spots a giant fish getting dragged in. Bro, it's basically a full-on sea monster. So he rushes into a shop, grabs supplies, and grills the guy about a boat to the next town. Then the shopkeeper just shuts it down like, nah fam, no boats ever go there. Turns out this massive sea monster gobbles up any fishing boat that creeps too close to the coast. Total nightmare. And that's exactly why the MC starts asking how to cross the mountains illegally. But the owner cuts that dream off too, snarling that the climbing route is packed with high-level monsters. So yeah, looks like there's no easy escape. The guys were like, yo, where do you think you are? This is the salt capital of the whole country. Like, yeah, because of course we've got salt. Later, our boy is straight up vibing by the ocean, chowing down on some seriously tasty fish. He's replaying the night at the pub when he realized the cute waitress wasn't just short, she was a dwarf and way older than him. Plot twist hit him like a truck. Even though he adored that place, he still had to bounce the very next day, already craving that god-tier ale like crazy. Back on the road, he spots a pair of merchants rolling in, and a tough bodyguard guarding their every step. He studies the path ahead and then realizes it's totally smashed, so bad you couldn't even push a horse through. The climb is absolutely draining the life out of his stamina, so when he glances back, Ruta is barely a tiny speck in the distance. The higher he climbed, the rougher and emptier the land got, nothing like prime monster territory or even a place anyone would want to hang around. Suddenly, his gamer instincts scream. He slams a magicite, locks onto a hidden beast trail and spots it like a glitch in reality. He's sizing this place up like it's nothing but small fry, figuring the border pass is too nasty for any big monsters to mess with. Bro's getting absolutely wrecked by this climb. He's dead certain he's right near the national border now. He spots a decent-looking flat patch, drops in to finally rest and scarf down lunch, then mutters something and bam, right as the door's slammed. The ground beneath him straight up gives way and he barely yanks himself back before he gets swallowed by whatever that thing was. Seriously, this is the worst RNG imaginable. He leans over the hole he just blasted open and realizes the so-called door is sitting way down below him. He leans in and bam, there it is, a giant black stone slab clawed over with nasty roots and thick grime. He pokes it and it feels like sticky tar, like charred wood, straight up disgusting, my dude. He absolutely does not want to touch that mess. Then his brain starts spinning. What if this is just like that fairy gate he found? Maybe there's something crazy hidden under the surface. So he takes the leap for the biscuit and thinks, I'll clean it up later. He taps into his inner cleric and launches a purify spell like a weapon. The gunk finally evaporates and bam, there it is, a spotless white stone monolith blazing with glowing runes. It looks absolutely insane. Then it hits him like I just flipped the switch and he can feel the boss fight charging right around the corner. He starts scratching his head, wondering why something this big was buried so deep out of sight. He slaps his hand on it and boom, everything erupts in bright light like a Christmas tree. A heartbeat later, the colossal stone door grinds and slides wide open. It drags your eyes down a filthy staircase swallowed by darkness. Dungeon maybe, he can't help wondering. He's unsure he even wants to step inside, but deep in his gut, something down there is calling him back like it's tied to him by fate. When you're stuck, whip out your tiny pocket waifu, he screams for the lies to come running. Right when it hits, his fairy companion bursts in full panic, clutching a massive potion and screaming that a girl is trapped inside, yelling for help. MC's like, whoa, hold up, save me, who's in there? Lies snaps back that they're miserable and stuck in it alone, while the MC still hesitates, disgusted by that nasty mold. But the second it comes to his fairy friend, he's hopelessly down bad, so when she begs, he just can't bring himself to say no. Lies grins, shoves the potion into his hands, and hypes him up like a mission just started. They hand him this gift from the elders, but right before he can even ask what it does, poof, she's gone. Now he's fully committed. This mystery of the stone, that nasty black mold, and Lisa's quest have his whole adventure buzzing and his spirit on fire. He stomps down the stairs and the black gunk snarls thicker and thicker the deeper he goes, straight up nasty. He decides to save his MP, purify only what's right in front of him, then full throttle blitz straight through everything else. He keeps moving when bam, he spots a puddle of black stuff just sitting there waiting like a trap. And just like that, the puddle starts twitching and then it starts moving. It's a slime and it rockets straight at him. He barely slips out of the way. He swings his staff hard crack, but it still won't get one shot. Oh, this ain't no beginner zone trash, dear slime. He's fighting with everything he's got, all while dodging that nasty gunk so it never touches him. Since his punches get him nowhere, he pivots to magic, then hurls a blazing light ball straight at it. And just like that, the slime goes down in a hiss, melting away, leaving him choking and coughing, praying he didn't suck up a drop of that toxic goo. The slime plops down a dark magic crystal and he clocks it as D-rank level power, realizing, yeah, this slime was absolutely no joke. For the next 2 hours he grinds forward, smashing those upgraded slimes and stacking up a fat pile of magic crystals. Finally he stumbles into a dead end, after everything, all that effort, and it ends right here. But he locks in his magic sight and spots a massive empty room tucked behind the wall, a classic hidden passage. He figures the wall's just coated in that black sludge, so he braces himself and prepares to purify it. After he finishes cleaning it up, he spots a handle. Pushing fails, sliding fails, so he grits his teeth and finally yanks it instead. Bingo, the door shoots open with a slick slide. He sneaks a look inside, and right away, he finds a colossal chamber wrecked to the bone. This place looks like an ancient auditorium, crushed, collapsed, and frozen in time. He spots a weird black crystal sprouting from the wall, then he quickly chips off a chunk to study later. Then he spots a statue smothered in black gunk. Yep, it's time to hit it with another cleanse. Once the seal is broken, he locks onto the statue right away, because it's none other than the supreme deity of this world, Teslasia. He snaps the clues together and suddenly it hits him. This massive underground complex isn't a base at all, it's a church. That's what haunts him, PTSD flashbacks of the goofy god of reincarnation who literally iced-kicked him. Yeah, he decides he has to wrap up Lisa's quest right now and get out of here, like yesterday. Now he's at a crossroads and this spot feels like a back door, like he could have found an emergency exit if he just pushed the right way. He decides to charge straight ahead, convinced the church layout has to be simple. But his inner gamer snaps into control. He knows he has to rip through every side room, hunting loot like it's life or death, because the compulsion won't let him stop. He jumps into purifying the room and then, boom, he realizes it's draining his Mona by the truckload, so yeah, this is gonna be a brutal, long day. He sketches out the map, then realizes exactly how many rooms are in this loot run, and it looks like it'll drain him dry. Then bam, galaxy brain moment. He realizes he can squeeze his magic sight into a tiny, razor-sharp radius and basically see right through things like X-ray vision. He pours every last drop of magic power into a blazing 1-meter sphere that hovers around him. And somehow it works. He can literally see straight through the furniture. With that fresh hack's ability, he launches into a full-on loot sprint, ripping open hidden stashes under beds and even tucked inside the walls. He stumbles on a whole haul of spell books and some cash, then hits the wall. Every single spell is for a different element or way too high level for him to learn. Talk about a gut punch. He decides to camp out in the now empty room for the night. Before he even settles in, he flings open a powerful magic sight and scans the whole area. And what he sees, it makes his blood turn to ice. Huge, terrifying monsters are stalking the halls right outside his safe zone. Looks like they can't get into this section at all, and yeah, my guy's definitely not scoring any sleep tonight. Then he spots it, the main event, an insane 10-meter tall black slime, and the final boss has finally arrived. He knows right away he's got zero chance. Those menace limes already tore him up, and this thing would absolutely mop the floor with him. He snaps back to the mission, save the girl, don't tangle with the final boss, and drills one thing into his head: find a way out no matter what. He leans on his magic sight, mapping everything in an instant. Turns out this whole church is swallowed by a colossal cave about 30 meters tall. He spots a corridor slammed shut with debris, but there's a narrow gap. He squeezes through anyway and pushes into the central temple area, where more buildings stretch out and a possible exit could be waiting. New plan: this stealth mission, slip past the Papa Slime and bolt out through the ruins behind the temple. He starts his best Solid Snake cosplay, silently slinking through the halls like a ghost. Still, that massive slime hasn't clocked him yet. He keeps tiptoeing, desperate not to wake the silence. But his luck finally runs dry. One of the slime's huge eyes peeks out from around a busted pillar. The slime hurls a massive glob of pitch-black goo and seals up the entrance he came from. Now his escape is totally cut off. He snaps his lantern to life, casting light as he braces for a battle he knows he can't possibly win. He blasts a blazing light ball attack. But the slime shrugs it off. No scratch, no damage, nothing, and that whole attack just becomes totally useless. The boss slime gathers its power and rockets a devastating attack at the heroes. His path is blocked, his attacks land with nothing, and our boy is seconds away from getting absolutely crushed. So our boy's locked eyes with this jumbo glob of goop, and yeah, he's definitely not having a good time. He's absolutely rattled, like, what the hell just happened? Then it hits him, wait, what the hell is that? And he realizes it's the same black gunk from before. Turns out the slime boss has been spewing out landmines all along the path, and it's absolutely foul. This unit is a whole monster, but the zoomies are flying around and just vomiting ranged hits nonstop. Our boy can't even dodge right on this trash-tier terrain. Then he catches on and starts counting, realizes the spit attack has a 5-second cooldown, and he's like, 8 bet, and suddenly there's a real flicker of hope. He remembers those black slimes leave behind dark magic crystals, and now it's time to lock in and clutch up. He yanks out his holy spear, channels full exorcist mode, and screams, "You're a dark attribute mob like that skeleton." Then he declares, "To the impure, may your soul rest in peace." Bro's acting like he's in the final anime showdown. He unleashes a massive purify blast, hurling pure light straight through it like a cannon. He's shouting like he owns the place. So how's that holy spear taste, huh? All while it gets purified from the inside out because this big talking guy was just moments ago sprinting for his life. But hold up, the slime doesn't let that spear go easy. It starts gulping it down right in his hands. RMC is in trouble for real, but he grits his teeth, goes plus ultra, and screams purify as he unleashes full power. He's fighting through every ounce of pain, teeth clenched tight as he snarls, "I'm not losing to you." Then boom, a wall of blinding light wipes out the whole area in an instant. When the dust finally settles, our boy is wrecked. I did it. He gasps, staring at his hand, the damage so brutal you can see the bone. Oof, okay, emergency holy light, Geo. He checks his monobar and it's totally wiped out. Bros running on fumes, stuck there in agony, just waiting for his MP to refill. Then he finally shoots up and goes, 8, alright, time to grab my loot and peace out. The slime just hacked up this massive light magic crystal and my man is through the roof, but hold up, what's that? A bonus drop. RNG finally decided to bless him for once. Looks like a huge all egg and he's totally baffled. Did that slime lay an egg low-key? That's seriously weird. Suddenly, a voice in his head, maybe his fairy waifu, screams, holy beastly offend les egg. And then it all clicks. Turns out this is the exact thing they asked him to save, and boomy, mission accomplished, my dude. He stumbles on a brand new passage, and it looks like an ancient sanctuary that's been smashed to pieces. He spots a tunnel choked with debris, but that other way is off limits for now. He barrels ahead and spots a new tunnel. This one looks straight out of a coal mine. With the main entrance obliterated, this is his only shot at getting out, and he's praying the moment he steps through, no high-level mobs spawn on top of him. To make it even worse, after that boss fight, his spear's durability is sitting in the red. Now it's basically just a battered pointy stick. His supplies are dwindling fast, and the stress is eating at him. Suddenly, a terrifying noise rips through the air. A ghost, my guy whispers. Nar, it sounds like mining, like there's someone else down here, but his magicite won't do a thing through these thick cave walls. He's stuck debating whether to snuff out his light because what if it's a monster? But what if it's just a human and he scares them instead? Total classic gamer dilemma. Then out of nowhere, a blazing light flickers up ahead. He tiptoes in, then right in front of him, he spots a dwarf. Then he whips around and roars, yo-ho. MC is totally baffled. He's like, yo-ho sounds friendly enough, I mean I guess I'll kill you, asshole. The dwarf squints at him, sniffs out, you look human, and my guy just goes, yeah, I am. So they both relax because they're speaking the same language. Our boy S been pegged as human, and now he wakes up to his new dwarf grandpa Brock already setting breakfast like a total Chad. First things first, Brock's eyes snap to the brand new, fluffy little creature perched on my guy's shoulder. He's like, yo, that ain't some local monster. And our MC's sweetheart is already scrambling to uncover where his new pet came from. Then he names it Shin, and yeah, it's pretty dang cute. Brock grins and says the name is perfect. But right after that, our boy cracks a joke like, so Brock wanted to eat that egg yesterday, and the old man totally panics, spouting, bro, it was just a joke. Meanwhile, our guy is clearly down bad for that omelet for real. Alright, time to hit the dungeon. Brock tells him they can toss the masks because this stretch of the cave is poison-free. Bet. Dwarf is a walking GPS, darting through the dark tunnels like he owns the place. Suddenly, RMC's spidey senses go haywire. Mr. Brock senses something up ahead too, and the dwarf is all impressed like, nice instincts, kid. Brock isn't even breaking a sweat, because he already sees exactly what's about to hit. And guess what? Surprise, it's a giant gross walking fungus. Our MC's just like, bruh, I've seen these in games, but IRL they're straight up nasty. A mushroom mob charges in at them and Brock barks, back up. And the old man snaps full beast mode and one-shots it clean with his hammer, bonk. He's acting all chill, yeah, they're trash tier mobs, but we're still cooking them up for dinner. Our boy's completely rattled, wait, are those actually edible? Up ahead, there are more of them. Brock snaps and he dares him to take one out. Dude's 8 years old and still like, let's go, but he's already stumbling over his own feet. First time duking it out with a fungus, so yeah, I better keep my spear steady because one wrong move and I'm done, and honestly, the idea that I'm getting this serious over a mushroom is kind of hilarious. He snaps at his fluffy buddy, Shin, to stay right where he is. He lunges for the stab, then his spear hits the wall and bounces right off. Elmo, my dude's like, nah, that's not gonna work. Mark's whole body jolts when a beefier fungus suddenly erupts behind him, and panic slams into him like a truck. He keeps jabbing at it, but no matter what he does, it refuses to budge. Brock just stares him down and deadpans, yeah, your technique, it's totally incompatible, watch it fail. Our boy is totally lost, grumbling that his ancient technique has been handed down for centuries. But Brock drops straight up wisdom, yeah, pass it on so you learn to fight people, not monsters. Bro just clocked it, oh snap, he's right. Turns out his whole fighting style is built for PvP, not PvE, and yeah, this ain't his old world anymore. Dwarf shoots him a warning, adapt now or later you're gonna get yourself wrecked, no cap. They push forward and then, right in their ears, the unmistakable rush of water starts to ring out. They finally spotted the exit, then slammed into a freaking monstrous underground waterfall blocking the whole way. His gamer brain starts crunching fall damage and water pressure in real time, and then it hits him. That jump is instant game over. Okay, real question, can we even push through this? He blurts. Rocks start showing up in about 20 days once the water drops, 20 days of oh no, just waiting for the level to fall. He even yanks out a magical little clock thing and uses it as proof. Man, my guys are so relieved, he's getting to hang out with a solid dude like Brock for the next 3 weeks. Back at base, they're seconds away from digging into that fungus steak, then bam, the smell hits them and it's way better than it has any right to be. Our boy starts spiraling over what his new pet should even eat, but he's totally clueless, like he adopted a whole creature without ever checking its diet first. SMH. Shen hands him a tiny test bite and he instantly realizes the teeth are already in. Brock snaps at him for not even thinking about what to feed it, like dude, you're a total new parent. With every door shut, they gamble on one thing: can Shen chow down that fungus steak? And would you look at that, this little fluff ball absolutely wipes the floor with it. Guess it's got real gourmet taste after all. Our MC takes a bite too and grimaces, calling it bland, but admits it still counts as food, the village's staple. With gratitude burning in his chest, he turns to Brock and asks, "Is there anything I can do for you in return?" Brock's got our boy on his mind. He tells him he saw black crystals deep in the cave and demands he go grab one. My guy yanks out a flawless specimen straight from his inventory bag like it's nothing. Turns out Brock has dedicated his entire life to studying these things, and they only thrive in spots dusted with that brutal death powder. He tells you the crystal is basically a magic superconductor, swallowing spells and channeling them like lightning. But it's unbelievably fragile, one tiny tap and it just shatters. But the real magic hits when you pour it with spells, then it turns as tough as steel. Brock spots massive potential in it, even if wrestling with it is a total pain. Later that night, our boy can't stop thinking about the crystal, because it's powered by death powder, so he starts wondering, could this thing actually wipe out the undead? And out of nowhere, he starts coughing hard and it's blood, big yikes. He starts spiraling into panic, trying to force himself to calm down, and it's like he's getting hit by a full-on meltdown, straight up, total brosplosion. He realizes he can use light magic and he already purified death powder before, but now he's terrified. If he purifies it again, he'll be stuck with whatever nasty gunk his body might leave behind. He still remembers the potion his waifu slipped into his hands, but he swallows the urge because without knowing exactly what it does, using it feels like tempting fate. He decides to unleash a holy wind, convinced it'll act like a heal-over-time spell and scrub the poison's source clean. He channels the magic, and suddenly, a holy light explodes into a blazing glow. You can literally watch that magic scrub its way through his lungs, wildly cool and honestly kinda gross. Just like that, the pain eases, he can finally breathe again, and for now the crisis is shut down. He feels completely wiped out and drops onto his bed like a sack of bricks. She rushes in to comfort him and our boy goes, that fluffiness is the ultimate cure, and honestly can't argue with him. A few days slip by and our guy is grinding hard on fresh skills. Brock is teaching him blacksmithing and he's eating up every lesson. He's been wiping out those fungus mobs while the old man basically plays farmer, growing dinner for them like clockwork. He's getting really good at drying fungus, which is honestly the wildest, most random talent I've ever heard of. You also spot laundry hanging out to dry, and right away you clock it as a sketchy spot to hang your clothes. Brock snaps and decides it's time to hammer his skills into shape, because his technique is an absolute disaster, and he's going to savage the training until it finally works. Alright kids, picture me as a low-rank goblin, then come at me. They spar and our MC gets completely stonewalled. He's stunned. This old dwarf is an absolute monster, blocking and parrying every single hit like it's nothing. My guy twirls his spear like a helicopter, but Brock just slips out of the way like it's no big deal. Brock slams in with a brutal swing, and our boy has to scramble out of the way. I lose, our boy admits, then he blurts, asking how Brock even managed that flash step move. But Brock flips the script, forget my moves, why'd you dodge my last attack, my dudes just hate getting hit, duh. But Brock snaps at him, saying that a low-rank goblin's hit wouldn't have mattered at all. He tells him, with the goddess's blessing, that pathetic little hit is nothing, just a scratch. He leaned in and asked how many blessings my boy had, then the reply hit hard, 10 and 10 blessings. So I'm supposed to just take Danka Goblin's blade head-on, while he just stares at me, utterly stunned. Brock basically says, yeah, that's just common sense here, and our MC gets hit with the "my whole life was a lie" shock of a lifetime. His PvP focus technique is pure dodge perfection and one-shot kills, way too much for this because it leaves him wide open when he's fighting mobs here. Brock warns him, keep fighting like a glass cannon and you'll just end up getting wrecked. My guy is losing it because he's just now realizing this mind-blowing mechanic right as Brock starts coughing up blood again. Oh no, this is bad. He tries to brush it off and tells everyone straight up, there's no cure for the death powder infection. Our boy asks about the holy wind and Brock snaps back that it won't fully cure him and that he's running out of time anyway. My guy straight up ignores him and blasts him with a holy wind. Brock freezes in shock because this skill feels amazing. He even gasps as a fresh breeze hits his face for the first time in 10 years and the poison starts to clear up. Now it clicks, he finally sees how our boy survived that powder and the relief hits him so hard he's practically smiling as he declares, I'm gonna live a lot longer from here on out. To celebrate, he swears dinner will be a full-course fungus feast, but our MC isn't buying it. More mushrooms? Seriously. Meanwhile, out there somewhere, a whole army is losing it, because they've heard the Demon King's forces are closing in. Scouts call it out, and the whole squad snaps into full-on high alert. They lock eyes on their target. And it's not a whole horde at all, just one giant demon beast, but wow, this thing looks brutal as hell. The hero gets hit with the order, time to draw the holy sword and go to war. The beast locks onto them and lets out a thunderous roar, and the front line snaps into a shield wall on instinct. Backline mages start machine gunning buff spells like they're farming victory on raid night. An archer knocks a magically infused arrow, looses it like a comet, and lets out a bone-rattling scream for full dramatic impact. Yeah, my boy S losing his mind, screaming like the world's ending. But the arrow slams into the demon's hide and bounces off like it hit stone. Total damage, 0. Beast snaps back, slashes the knight clean out of the fight in an instant. The crowd is screaming for the saint to heal, then she snaps back that she can't use her healing magic right now and she won't say why. That old bishop has to step in fast, plant a bigger heal, and rescue the down knight before it's too late. Panic crashes over them when they realize their attacks bounce off like nothing, because the enemy is on a whole other level, even with their goddess blessings. The saint finally steps forward and swings the hero's holy sword into its full power. He goes into full power mode, screaming at the top of his lungs, I can do it. He barrels in at full speed, still howling in rage, and somehow manages to slam down a hard, solid hit. The blade slashes straight through the beast like lightning. With the monster finally wounded, the saint snaps into action and unleashes her ultimate move, Purify. Demon Doggo gets utterly vaporized inside a blazing pillar of holy light. And just like that, the monster crumples, GG. Turns out the saint couldn't heal earlier because she'd been hoarding every drop of mana for that one giant purification spell. Now it's fired off and she's stuck on cooldown. Back with our MC, Brock finally snaps into action and starts giving him directions out of the cave. And just like that, he slides our boy one last parting gift before he goes. It's a letter meant for his son Kevin in the city of El Norn, a classic fetch quest waiting to explode. They trade their goodbyes and Brock presses a heartfelt wish for him and Shenwell. Our boy finally storms out of that cave and bam, 2 moons hang overhead as a massive waterfall crashes down in front of him. What the hell, it's basically Niagara Falls, no exaggeration. He spots the cave entrance across the way and at last he's free. At his final goodbye he shouts at his friend Mr. Brock, I'll remember that voice, and he makes it clear the bromance is real. Bro, he's having the worst time imaginable, like, absolutely none of it is going his way. He's yelling, damn, this is a killer workout, but I definitely didn't sign up for the full-on Bugzerg storm because even more of them keep bursting out of the woodwork. He keeps hammering away, shredding those caterpillar-looking monsters until they turn into foul, shimmering goo. But they don't stop and my dudes keep realizing he totally stumbled into their nest, big yikes. One of them lands a critical hit, and the attack detonates across his face like a total disaster. He's repulsed, he's basically smashing the purify button inside his head, wishing he'd never stopped walking. Finally, my guy bursts out of that nightmare cave and soaks up the sun like a lizard on a rock, fresh as new, and even his little fluffballchen is seeing daylight for the first time. Orwa. But there's zero time to relax, they have to keep rolling, and then he spots a giant 50-centimeter caterpillar just chilling on a leaf like it owns the place. Our boy immediately spirals into overthinking, do I fight it? Then he shuts it down like, nah, I'm a pacifist, I'm not throwing hands with everybody I meet. But the bug makes the first move, and suddenly it's go time, because he realizes that even if it looks like some trash tier mob, it's still a monster. He's like, perfect, this is the moment I finally try out my brand new spear because my old one just got wrecked. He's like, alright, let's do this. But then this horrible dread smacks him in the chest. Wait, don't tell me he just aggroed an entire insect colony. Yeah, he freaked out and started blasting those light bursts everywhere, like a disco ball of death lighting up the whole area. Now he's sprinting for his life and it hits him, he just flipped himself into full search and destroy mode against the entire insect population in this forest. Dude, seriously, learn to chill. Somehow my guy finally stumbles onto the main road, safe at last, out from under those buckbacalypse. Smartly, he decides to leave a mark so he won't get lost. Honestly, it's probably the first real big brain move he's made all day. He spots a village on the horizon, dead on with the description Old Man Brock gave him, and just like that, he remembers the dwarf loading him up with a boatload of dried fungus for the road. Old Man Brock was instantly razor sharp. He clocked my guy had a magic bag the second he saw that tiny backpack could never hold everything a solo adventurer needs. Brock's on a whole different level, dude. He even told our guy to use a normal-sized bag so he wouldn't get spotted, and sure enough, following his advice, he strolls right into Tanla village. He's thinking it'll be some sleepy little village, but the moment he shows up, it's absolutely thriving. He's staring in awe at the tough, dwarf-forged buildings, and soon decides to grab an inn, settle in, and then go exploring. Then bam, a wild smell hits the air. Meat. After living on nothing but fungus, my guy is down bad for the real deal, like his whole world just flipped. He storms into a tavern clutching his little fluffball and demands a table. The owners are like, yeah, sure, how about our village special, caterpillar steak? A boy's face turns chalk white in an instant. Nope, not happening, not even close, those things just wrecked him with something traumatic. The owner calls him a picky eater and dangles this super expensive soup, or more fungus, right in front of him, and my guy snatches the soup instantly. Then the waitress slides over and wow, she's a full-on waifu, and the owner even brags she's one of the most popular girls in the whole village. The food finally hits the table, and man, it looks ridiculously good. But the waitress panics, leaning in and demanding to know if he's really sure he can handle fire wine. Turns out this isn't just any drink, it's a special potion brewed to mimic the legendary dwarf fire wine, the real deal, the high-level stuff. He takes a sip and bam, flavor detonates across his tongue, and that soup is so damn good it's the best he's ever tasted. After lunch, he storms into the general store for supplies, and the shopkeeper tries hawking dried caterpillar meat like it's gourmet, but my dude shuts that whole idea down with a brutal, hard nope. The very next morning, they hit the road on foot and push straight for the next town. He can't stop replaying that legendary dwarven drink in his head, swearing he'll chase the real thing someday. Then it hits him, boom, Elnorn City appears, and holy crap, it's insanely huge. Out there, the fields are spotless, so yeah, this monster extermination game is running like a beast. He strides through the streets, totally stunned by the futuristic city and the chaos in the air, then pulls out the map Brock handed him. And then it hits him, this whole thing is totally pointless, just some low-effort doodle in a city packed with a million buildings. This is going to take forever. He's got to swallow his pride and march up to a street vendor, begging for directions. Right after he gets help, some random dude barrels into him and starts screaming beef, furious that our MC never apologized. The buzz spreads as a crowd gathers fast, all of them leaning in like, what's going on? It's a 3-on-1 ambush, 3 brutal-looking adventurers closing in on some poor guy, and our MC is stuck debating if he should jump in. One of them screams, bring it on, and then boom, he charges forward. Only for a complete ambush, someone pops out of nowhere and lands a one-shot KO, absolutely decking him. A red-headed girl steps up, eyes blazing, and dares the troublemakers to back off, tell her to move, and she'll stuff them in a barrel on the spot. Absolute Chadette energy. Our boy just froze in place, eyes wide, stunned out of his mind, like this city is on a whole other level of crazy. Turns out not everyone's op. Locals basically go, yeah, Dahlia got messed with, which is like picking a fight with a dragon while you're trying to hunt goblins. Seriously, the worst RNG for them. She's just a famous adventurer, and our MC is practically shaking with relief, because thank goodness the whole city isn't crawling with superhumans. Anyway, it hits him, his real quest. he has to grab a guild card so he can finally get to Kevin's place. He finally spots the Adventurers Guild, and honestly, he feels like a seasoned pro since this is his 5th visit. It's packed to the brim, and get this, there's even a fancy second floor. He strides up to the counter and signs up as a brand new adventurer. He's got paranoia crawling under his skin, trying to bury the fact that he's a runaway from Elm, so he decides to hit the reset button and start completely fresh. He figures the guilds keep their secrets tightly, so he's betting he's in the clear. The cat girl receptionist sizes up his skills and starts acting like she's cooking up a plan, totally flustered, but she still agrees to take his information. A battle-worn veteran overhears everything and snaps at her to drop it. This isn't some big mystery, it's the rookie's mess to deal with because only a real one that guy would handle it. He flashes a quick wave, then turns and strides away. Then the boy blurts out, "Wait, do I have to register my pet?" Now that he's got his brand new guild card in his hand, he's finally set to track down Kevin. He drags himself along the map, racing toward the rich district like it's calling his name. These walls are colossal. This is the place where the nobles live, no question. He stumbles onto the place with a badass dragon statue right out front, like it's daring him to step in. This place isn't a house at all, it's a full-blown castle, and he's just staring like, wait, is Kevin guy some kind of noble or what? The gate swings open and he slips inside fast, hands shaking, heart pounding. It feels way more like a fortress than a noble's home. Then he pounds on the door. And a bunny maid rushes in to greet him with a wink. Bro, his brain totally short-circuited after seeing a bunny do all that. This is peak ice guy culture right here. He stammers out breathless that he's here to hand a letter straight to Kevin. When she asks who it's from, he leans in and tells her it's from a dwarf named Brock. That's the magic word, and the moment she says it, she swings the door open and lets him in. This whole thing screams shady, but he still follows her right in. As they climb, another adventurer blocks the stairs and snaps, "Hey, newcomer." Mimi, the maid, ushers him straight to the master's office and bursts out that he's here. That dude behind the desk looks 8, so our guy and his fluffy little sidekick are touring their brand new digs, and holy crap, this room is straight up sick. It's cleaner than any trash deer he's ever slept with, and you can bet this place used to be some rich noble's crib before it all went to ruin. Bro's sprawled out in total existential panic. One second he's a total nobody, the next he's getting pulled into a top-tier clan, and the mental whiplash is unreal. He's already cooking up a plan to keep his busted holy magic under wraps so he can stay low-key, while still diving headfirst into all the sweet raid action with his new clanmates. Then the bunny waifu shows him around the whole place. This is the chow hall, so relax, the food's actually good. This is the dull meeting room, and that right there is the loot cave where they stash all the weapons and armor. She leans in and drops the real lore. This place used to be a noble's mansion, and the clan's been ripping it up with renovations for ages. Because the Golden Dragon's claws are an old-school powerhouse, and their HQ has to match that kind of influence, no question. She's pitching him the clan perks, artifacts to find, dungeons to conquer, while he's up there just cooking in the heat, fresh out of sleeping in a cave for ages, and honestly, my dude is not built for summer. He's so wiped out he's yawning in the middle of the day. Guess that caveman life really wrecked his sleep schedule. Alright, time to hunt down some grub while he roams the city. He's wandering around, convinced this place is a full-on maze when some random guy yells, "All right!" And our boy immediately tells his fluffy sidekick to hold the fort while he goes off to crush his big boy aptitude test. He even leaves a tiny snack out for it like, are you kidding, what a dad. Striding down this damn long hallway, my guy's already cooking up theories about what this test even is, because he's betting it's a mock battle. He sprints through his skill list, light ball, heal, dagger moves, basic martial arts, then he stops like, dang, I should have copped that cheap spear, and yeah bro, you're stressing over the tiny stuff. He finally reaches the woods to get some practice in, and SH-wing, clean slice, not bad at all. He's testing this brand new obsidian dagger, and turns out it needs a moment to boot up, while it guzzles Mona like crazy, so now he has to nail the timing or risk running out of juice mid-swing. Next he tries using it like a magic wand, light up my path, and boom, the entire dagger bursts to life, glowing like a freaking glow stick, and my dude is absolutely blown away. He's trying to figure out whether those daggers work with his magic, but every time he tests them they spark with this weird static Y reaction. Then he realizes it's total trash against dark magic, and when he finally tries holy magic, it all detonates into a massive fail. Then he decides to juggle two things at once, dagger clenched in one hand, light source spell ripping through his other, and it works perfectly, no hiccups at all. He drops into a seat and starts digesting this information overload, because that obsidian dagger isn't just a weapon, it's a Mona-hungry beast, and yet his body feels like it's transforming, like there's power in the making. Professor Rook just says, we need more digging. But the real nightmare is juggling that dagger and his magic at the same time. One wrong move, and he'll trip over his own feet. He imagines trying to shove magic into the dagger with one hand while blasting a spell with the other mid-fight. And honestly, that's basically a one-way ticket to getting himself obliterated because he'd absolutely blow himself up. After a brutal whole day of striking out, he storms back inside, desperate to hunt down the secret passage he swears he heard about. And then bam, he stumbles onto this ridiculously massive courtyard, the kind his room overlooks every single day, so yeah, he's been dying to finally get up close. Then he clocks a loudmouth blonde dude screaming at someone, swearing he'll smash them if they even think about touching the flowers, because Mimi, the scary maid, is backing him up with full beatdown energy, total drama. And this dude is just beating a training dummy to a pulp with a slasher move. Alright, we get it, you clock in 8 hours. Then Rook rolls back into town like he pulled off some 200 IQ genius trick. Bunny made Mimi rush over to our boy, firing off, "Are you hurt?" And Rook just shrugged, "Nah, I'm fine." Then he said he'd come back because the whole town was going wild over that golden dragon. Mimi lays it all out for him. Tonight's plan is locked in, the night shift is dealing with the big lizard, so everyone else can just kick back in the dorms for now. And Rook's? He's got nothing to do, fully stepping into that unemployed hero energy. He asks if golden dragons just pop up out of nowhere like a super rare Pokémon spawn, and Mimi's like, nah bro, those things are freakishly rare, they almost never leave their nests. She says that when an op monster like that starts moving, it kicks off a full-on monster stampede, so yeah, that's why everyone's panicking and losing their minds. She tells him, "I'll hit you up once we've got a plan," and just leaves our boy stuck on his own. With dinner still hours away, Rook wastes no time. He cracks open a book and grinds his INT on golden dragon lore. But the library's kinda trashed here, barely any books on the subject, and he's stuck there struggling until this wild bookworm suddenly shows up. Oh, it's Lucille. Mimi's been hauling this huge stack of books, and now Lucille steps in, points at one and tells him, this one might actually have the info you need. He charges into the history books and speedreads past the dull parts, zipping over the stuff about some guy named Karim. And boom, he stumbles onto it. Turns out this legendary dude, Brock, came back with a golden dragon's claw, and that's how his whole clan kicked off. Yeah, Brock was a total certified Chad. The book claims that once the dragon vanished, monster attacks exploded, but the moment it returned, the monster spawn rate crashed, and Lucille can't help but think it's messed up that a dragon showing up would bring good effects. She snatches out another book and Rook blurts, "Show me that one." At first he thought she was tough to approach, but then it hit him, she's just a clumsy, book-obsessed waifu. Lucille tells him her mom used to be a maid here and would always steal quiet time to read in this very room, so that's exactly why she moved in. Rook drops his guard and blurts, "Is your dad an adventurer?" And the moment she goes deathly quiet, he knows he just wrecked everything. Smooth. Luckily, his stomach pet Shun starts squeaking like crazy, yelling food time, and it totally rescues him from that super awkward silence. They head straight for the dining hall and the vibe is way calmer than Rook expected. No panic at all, just a full-on hype buzz in the air. His party members snap their heads when they see Lucille show up. Then Lucille's like, "Yeah, I invited her because we were out here researching." Rook finally admits it. When that dragon swooped right over his head, he fully expected his whole existence to get wiped out. His party is seething, those calls are going unanswered because they got trapped in the forest. Rook's totally baffled, why is everyone losing their minds over a possible apocalypse lizard? Then Silas leans in and tells him the truth, dragons are basically walking loot boxes. Those aren't just teeth, they're fangs, scales, even meat, every last bit of it is estuary treasure. Grab even one golden dragon scale and you're set for life, no more grinding at all, and now the entire town's basically gearing up for a huge farming raid the second it's safe. A bunch of the party members are already buzzing about Rook and Lucille like it's practically a done deal. The adventurers are buzzing, mapping out their search routes, while our boy feels a little too tipsy and just bails. He reckons if he keeps chugging, tomorrow's loot hunt is going to find him wiped out with a hangover so brutal he can't even move. He spots a great spot in the east wing, chills out for a second, then face plants on a bench and passes out. A second later, he catches a flash of something shiny hiding in the bushes. My guy just stumbled on some free loot, it's a ring, and he's sure someone must have dropped it, so he's planning to question people about it tomorrow. Then paranoia hits, he's convinced the whole town is packed with sneaky thieves, so he hands it to Mimi for safekeeping, instead of trusting some random guy with no plan. He sets the ring on his desk, drops to bed, and crashes for the night. He jolts awake, only to realize it's still not morning. Then bam, Ghost Waifu shows up in the house and our boy's completely rattled, his brain straight up buffering. Then it hits him, wait, I'm an op healer. He has the exact spell for this and you can practically feel the big brain moment coming. May the impure finally find peace, be purified, he screams and blasts her with holy light. But the ghost just stares, sorrow heavy, and then, poof, she fades into nothing, no curse, no revenge, just your heart getting hit with the sadness, and then she's gone. Rook stares at the ring sitting on his desk, his gut twisting as he wonders, has he just found a cursed item? He strolls up to some old-timer at the guild and asks if ghosts are common around here, then the geezer shakes his head, says not really, and warns him to report that ring to Mimi just in case. So Rook reports it, but Mimi's neck-deep in dragon chaos. He decides to storm back into the library, suddenly realizing he knows jack about the ghosts in this world. Turns out even scary powerhouses like liches can cling to their memories after they die and come back undead. That's the spooky part. He replays that moment in his head. The ghost she met didn't feel evil or cruel at all, just like a lonely spirit still hanging around. That night she's back and he wastes zero time. Right to her face he goes, so what's your deal with me, you got some business or what? She slips through that door like it's nothing and he's staring, freaking out. How can she hear him out there but not stay in the room? He casts a detection spell and boom, he clocks it, she's right outside waiting for him. He's convinced that ring is the key, so he snatches it, locks onto her trail and realizes this isn't just a follow, it's a full-on ghost escort mission. She grabs his hand and drags him straight into the courtyard. Then she drifts toward the east wing and right in front of your eyes, she slips away and disappears into the floor like it's swallowing her up. Rook unleashes his skills and finds a hidden cavity under the ground, revealing a secret room no one knew was there. He spots a loose block sitting on a pedestal and shoves it with a hard push. A secret passage, naturally there's a ladder dropping straight into the pitch-black dark. He flares his light and charges into the long-forgotten tunnel, chasing the ghost deeper into the dark. This scene drags on forever, stretching all the way out to the far west of town. They storm through the tunnel's final stretch and slam into a massive iron door at the end. He's pretty sure this is it, the end of the line, the only way out, at least that's what he's hoping. He scrambles up yet another ladder, then clicks off his light just to stay safe. He slams the hatch open at the top. He uses his micro skill to scan for enemies, spots nothing, and then scrambles out like he just got the all clear. He steps outside and stares up at the sky, lit up by stars. He whips his head around, trying to pinpoint where in the world he's ended up. It's a giant 4-story mansion, all wrapped up in walls like a fortress, and of course the bros swear it's haunted. Again, with Micro again, he peeks in and spots a swarm of people inside while guards stay posted outside, even through the night, and yeah, this place is locked down like a fortress. He realizes crashing in headfirst is suicide and bolts before things explode. Sorry, ghost girl, but this is way too risky. Next day hits and he's wiped out, so sleep-deprived from that ghost adventure he can barely keep his eyes open. He barrels west for a couple of kilometers, hunting that mansion again like it vanished from his life. And there it stands, this massive estate with guards stacked at the gate, straight up screaming, some rich noble lives here. He just stands there staring at the crib like, wait, whose is this anyway? Later, he's stuffing his face with the crew when Silas hits him with the bombshell. That's the Lord's mansion, Duke Sumer's place. They grill him for hunting loot in the noble district, but he keeps his cool like it's nothing. He learns the whole town's been locked down tight because of the dragon, yet somehow adventurers are still out there grinding for drops like nothing's wrong. Then Silas finally clicks, turns out the clan hall sits right on the Duke's old land. Turns out the old clan master and the former lord were close buddies, that's how the estate ended up in their hands, so yeah, an underground escape route doesn't sound so crazy after all. Sella asks, so do you have ties to the Dukes? And Rook S like me, what are you talking about? Then it hits him. Mimi and Arita come to mind, the girl who just stomped that big dude, and suddenly he realizes she could be a noble's daughter. He was ready to grill them about the mansion, but RNG basically handed him the info he needed anyway. That night the ghost storms back, this time with a mission, and she won't rest until it's finished. She guides him down the same path again, but this time she halts, locks eyes on the ground, and drops a handkerchief like it's a signal. He snatches it up, and there it is, a name stitched into the fabric, Lucille. His whole world wobbles. Could this thing be meant for his Lucille? He starts snapping the pieces together. Lucille's mom used to be the maid here, and she never knew who her dad was, so what if he belonged to the Sumer family? Yeah, this twist just blew open into a full-blown conspiracy. He tries to talk to the ghost, but nothing answers. She just keeps barreling toward the back garden of the Duke's mansion. He's not trying to end up behind bars for trespassing, so he tiptoes along and follows everything with sharp, careful attention. The ghost drags him straight to a gazebo. It's the exact same design as the one back at the clan hall. Then the ghost slips right through the floor and vanishes, and she's urging him to go hunting for something. He yanks up a loose floorboard, and there, hidden underneath, is a box with a book inside, and the ghost practically begs him with every inch. That diary is exactly what it wanted him to uncover. He hears a patrol closing in and decides to stay put, then reads them the message from his room. He finally gets home, yanks open the diary, and there it is, written by some old high-status noble. It's dated July 15th, a birthday gift meant for his wife, and then right on December 22nd it says that an Alec has finally come of age. He brings up shoving work on this guy named Brock Waite, the legendary clan founder. Then the diary turns wild. The author spills that he met a gorgeous maid named Melina, and yeah, he's completely gone for her. He and Melina started sneaking out in secret through hidden passageways, and trust me, this is the kind of drama that hits hard. Then, plot twist, Melina winds up pregnant with a daughter, and if that secret ever leaks, it could kick off a brutal succession crisis overnight. An April 2 diary entry spills the baby's name, Lucille, and bro, the ghost's dying wish is to reach this Lucille and tell her who her real dad is. Sumer is the author, and that's the final entry. Rook is so locked in that he doesn't even notice the sun's already climbed up. Now he can't sleep at all. He rockets back to the library. He stumbles on a diary entry that screams, Duke Elksumer died on April 5th, just 3 days after he'd written that last note. So the Duke got taken out before he could ever make it official. Lucille was his daughter. And Melina plus baby Lucille had to sprint non-stop through the mess, just trying to keep the drama from exploding. And maybe Melina died without ever confessing the truth to Lucille, and now he's got the key that unlocks this whole nightmare. Yeah, he's torn. Tell Lucille and risk a full-on scandal, or keep it buried and hope the truth doesn't blow up in his face. So I'm just like, hey, I followed your mom's ghost. Sounds insane, and that would make the diary feel totally fake. He decides to stop hiding and spill the truth. Then just as he's about to, Lucille shows up right behind him and demands, what do you need to explain? Talk about perfect timing. He's totally flustered, but she's like, dude, you're pacing through the archives at dawn, something's up. Then she presses him, asking if he found something he needs to show her. He pulls her into a seat and blurts out the wild whole story, like he can't hold it in anymore. She takes it in stride, flashing a calm smile as she says it's totally normal for him to hesitate, because who else would even dare to share something that insane? He leans in and tells her, I'm just relieved you know now, so her mother can finally rest in peace. Lucille deadpans, hey, don't you start offing my mom like it's nothing. Turns out her mom, Melina, is alive and doing just fine. She's holed up in the countryside after that nasty back injury, and the name, birthday, and every detail line up perfectly. She demanded to know where he'd gotten the diary, the ring, and the handkerchief. She's never laid eyes on those things before, but something tells her they're priceless keepsakes her mother left behind. He spills the entire ghost story, and she's instantly stunned, because a humanoid ghost would have been an A or B rank monster, and there's no way nobody would have clocked it by now. But honestly, people with sky-high magical power can spot things that everyone else misses completely. He starts wondering if that ring is supercharging his powers, because now he can see the ghost too, and she immediately asks what he's going to do with the diary. He's an outsider, so he hands her the choice, and Rook swears that diary looks legit, judging by the handwriting and the quality of it. Lucille decides to keep it private, because if she makes it public, it'll turn her life and her mom's into a total disaster, no matter whether it's true or not. What matters most to her is this: when she opens that diary, it proves her dad was a good man who loved her and her family. She clutches the diary to her chest and rushes to thank Rook for tracking it down, because that's all the proof she needed. Rook lets out a huge breath, because if she'd gone public, he'd have had to skid out of town right away just to dodge the fallout. In the end, he never got his answer. Was that ghost real or just the ring messing with his head? Next morning, he collides with his crew and the moment hits him. He thought he'd set out on some grand journey, but somehow he fell right into a clan instead. Now the dragon alert's finally lifted, and his whole party is ready to kick off the adventure. One golden dragon, a ghost on edge, and a mysterious ring that screams trouble. Life's getting wild again, and they're all set for the next quest, grinding out those golden dragon drops. Alright, so our bookworm waifu Lucille is totally wearing this new cloak Cyrus swore is perfect for the forest, and yet the moment she steps out, she's not feeling it at all. Rook clocks her and goes, "Yo, Lucille, what are you even doing here?" And Seam cuts in, "We're teaming up to hunt golden dragon drops." Duh. Bruh, Lucille gets all flustered like, "Hey, I'm an adventurer too, you know." But Rook just deadpans the whole time and I'm like, "Wait, I thought you were a librarian." Bruh, read the room. With the whole squad finally together, Cyrus grins and goes, "Alright team, let's roll." Turns out there's a wild rumor that some golden dragon hairs were found already. So yeah, my boy Cyrus is absolutely sprinting right now. Rook hurries over to Lucille and checks on her, asking straight up if she's alright. She shows up like, "I feel way better today," and just wants to kick it with the crew. Honestly, it's weirdly wholesome. Cyrus, the ultimate party dad, shows up like, "I brought drinks." But then he's already steering the vibe to, "We should grab some food too," while Seam is bouncing out of her skin because the adventure's about to start. Right outside the castle gates, as they step out, they spot a massive crowd packed beyond the walls. It's a full-on gold rush, baby. Adventurers and regular folks alike are scrambling to get rich off golden dragon drops, and yeah, it's pure desperation. Someone yells, "I found something," and our boy instantly assumes they're just farming the exact same items. Cyrus ain't even sweating. He says it's just a mistake, cause nothing in their right mind is gonna hit this close to town. But even then, you can tell his speed is climbing fast. Cyrus then spills the lore. Turns out those few golden strands of dragon hair are ridiculously OP, because they shrug off fire, magic, and even blades. Lucille, our resident nerd, leans in and tells us that monster materials can slap special effects onto your gear. She's basically saying this is a national treasure, stuff that can jack up your stats like crazy, and right then our boy Rook is getting fired up, realizing he's gonna need top-tier gear if he wants to keep leveling up. And he's sweating buckets because the idea that his gear enhancement could fail terrifies him. He's too soft, too squishy for that kind of nightmare. They finally burst into the forest, an untouched zone that lines up perfectly with the dragon's flight path. This is it. Then the whole team hypes up, throwing their voices into the air like, "Yeah, let's do this." Then reality smacks them in the face, just a bunch of kids stabbing bushes with sticks, swinging at random patches of grass like it's gonna reveal something. Cyrus is acting like a total newbie, and he's not finding a single thing. Seam starts yelling that this is the most boring thing ever, and Cyrus shoots back, "Dude, don't scream in the forest." Next, Cyrus finally gets it. There's no magic trick at all. You just search randomly and keep digging until you stumble on the answer. Rook can't help thinking, level grinding and farming items in games is always the same mind-numbing snooze fest. Seam keeps grumbling that the search is dragging and wearing her out, so the fluffy mascot slides her a snack just to make her finally stop. And it totally works. One bite and her whole mood flips back to sunshine. She turns to Shin and asks if it's tasty, like that's all it ever took. Seeing that, Cyrus shouted for a snack break, then pulled out some sizzling fire cheese sandwiches he'd snagged from a merchant he swears by. Everyone groans that this job is brutally exhausting, but hey, at least the cheese tastes amazing. Lucille leans in and asks just how massive the dragon's scales are, and Seam blurts out that their old master, Brock, once checked the dragon's nest when it was empty. "Hold up, why don't we just go straight to the nest?" I said, but Sierra cut me off instantly, warning that the place is crawling with monsters so powerful it's a terrible idea. And Lucille adds, "Ticking off a golden dragon is basically begging for your whole nation to get erased from the map. Big yikes." Rook realizes keeping the nest's location under wraps was a total Chad power move, because the moment he didn't publicize it, noobs couldn't rush in and get themselves killed. Once the break is over, it's back to the grind and they're still tearing through everything, searching for Jack Squaw. Rook decides it's finally time to unleash his secret move, Magalocation, and he tries to cast it so quietly that nobody in the room even notices. By shrinking the range, he can pinpoint distant spots and see every tiny detail. Lucille grabs him, fires off, "What are you doing?" And he instantly brushes it off like, "Oh, just thought if I waved my hand I'd feel something smooth, real smooth, bro." But when he searches and comes up empty, that sinking feeling hits like a crushing weight. Suddenly, a sharp ping blares from up in the tree, then he blurts, "Cyrus, did you find something?" The whole crew snaps their heads upward, and there it is, something golden and blindingly shiny hanging way up in the sky. It's go time. Cyrus, our absolute tank, charges straight up that tree and starts climbing like a wild beast the moment it's time. She looked genuinely impressed, and the moment she saw him for the first time, she swore he finally looked like a real adventurer. He improvises, snatches the item, and hops right back down. He holds it up like he's dying to show her golden hair straight from the golden dragon, and she just freezes in total shock as Cyrus can't even process it. They really hit the jackpot. He's snapping, screaming like he's losing control, and I finally manage to grab an S-rank material while Seam scrambles to calm him down. Lucille studies it up close, and when she sees it's legit golden, thick, weirdly soft with the roots still attached, she snaps to the truth. The only monster with hair like this is the golden dragon. Then her eyes flash with wild determination. She yanks out a knife and snaps that an experiment is the only way to prove its legendary strength. Seam has to physically yank her back before she drives the knife into herself. "Chill out, Lucille." Cyrus is itching to head home, but Seam won't let it. He pushes them to keep hunting for more. Rook shoots them that old adventurer's superstition look, "Get too greedy near the treasure, and you're the one who ends up hurt." Cyrus nods along and points out the wildest thing. Seam, the guy who's normally all energy, is acting weirdly calm about this huge discovery. They also clocked the weirdest thing, no monsters at all day, and yeah, that feels sus. Could the dragon's shadow have sent every last one running? Lucille is all fired up to study hair, while Sim only has one mission, chasing down the tastiest food. Rook, the humble MC, spots the situation and just shrugs, going along with the group's decision without making a fuss. Cyrus lays out the whole plan, using this find to forge ties with the Duke's family, because that connection is worth more than any pile of cash. They're going to pull Kevin and Darita in to connect with the Lord, while Lucille frantically gets the hair ready so it won't get damaged, plan locked in. Cyrus makes it painfully clear, nobody dares say a single word about that golden hair until the party's over. Back at the clan house, Rook drags himself to his room, wiped out and ready to just crash, then it hits him. He has to tell Mimi about the ring. Mimi drifts into the hall and spots him clutching the ring. She says she snagged it from the courtyard, and if someone dropped something this priceless, the whole place would have erupted in a full-blown commotion. She hits him with a total bombshell, an orichalcum ring. Rook is trembling and that orichalcum ring is going off, no joke. She tells him orichalcum is an ultra-rare metal, and every single artifact forged from it is basically a national treasure. With no word about anything this valuable going missing or getting stolen, she's convinced it's not anyone's in the guild. Rook yells that the ring belongs to whoever, and yeah, bro, that's not what she said. He's convinced he just stumbled on something, then she hits him with, "So why are dragons a symbol of good luck?" He figures it out, those scales and fur they just dropped aren't trash, they're worth a fortune. Then she fires off a 200 IQ question, straight up, "Bet you didn't know dragons hoard treasure and sometimes they even wear it." Because nobody else said he's missing, she tells him to keep the ring for now and makes it clear she can't take it. She clocks it fast. He doesn't look happy at all about scoring a legendary tier item, and that just feels totally off. Rook is trapped in PTSD flashbacks, muttering ghosts, ghosts under his breath like they're right beside him. He fires back, "How are you so sure it's not someone in the guild hiding it on the sly?" She flashes a smug grin at him and goes, "Yeah, because I run every single thing in this clan myself." Then, "All right, boss lady, we get it." Rook catches the hint and shuts it down, no deeper digging, no risks. Honestly, that's a smart play. Later in his room, he's locked in on the legendary ring of Orichalcum, convinced it's gotta be that god. "I need this special something that supercharges his magic or boosts his defenses." Then paranoia crashes in, what if this thing is cursed? He slips the ring on, bracing for creepy music to blare and for it to lock onto his finger forever. But still, nothing explodes, nothing answers, and he's left standing there like an idiot because he barely even understands how curses work in this world. He decides to try it out on the spot and fires off a quick little illuminate spell with magic. And boom, his magic control feels 10 times cleaner than before, but take the ring away and it turns sluggish, like the power's dragging its feet. So that ring sharpens his magic control, but he can't help wondering what else it can do, especially after he saw that ghost earlier. He launches a bigger spell, and holy light explodes outward like divine fire. His power stayed basically the same, but his healing spell hit harder, and casting it felt ridiculously easy now. He whips out his notepad like the biggest nerd on Earth, realizing that this ring cranks up stats tied to spirit, magic, and mana control, and yeah, it's a massive buff. He's betting that to crank up holy magic, he'll need to jack up his piety stat, maybe by praying at a church, but no way he's diving into all that religious business right now. So he ditches the plan and tries other spells instead, Holy Earth and Magalocation. He checks his mana and realizes his max has skyrocketed, crafting a holy stone used to drain half. Now it only steals a quarter, and just like that he's officially broken level up. Then it slams into him, oh crap, I never summoned lies in ages, and she's about to be mad and sulky. He calls her over and yup, she's not having it. But our boy Rook pulls the cheat code, throws out a bribe, hands her the sweets he just bought, and even drops a real apology. Then boom, she's forgiven, and yeah, it's an instant win. He shovels food to Shin while spinning lies, and the whole crew digs in and devours it. He spins lies that the dragon warned her not to start a fight, because it's on duty right now. That messes with his head, dragons showing up for jobs, clocking in and throwing punches like it's routine, and the picture of dragon office workers and boxers pops into his mind like a glitch. Lies finally got the message, don't pick a fight with a dragon that could erase you in one punch. Rook's honestly just relieved, no fights, no chaos, and no one to battle right now. Suddenly, Seaman and another girl storm into his room, yanking the door open at the worst possible moment, so he's caught chatting with his fairy and panic explodes. So locked in on the ring, he totally forgot to lock the door, and now he's been caught. It's like his time's up and he vanishes. He looked like he was freaking out, screaming at the fairy. Then Rook snapped into act after all, playing dumb and going, "Fairy, what are you talking about? It's just me and Chin here." Seam swears she saw a fairy, made eye contact, and even got a hello, but Rook just cranks up the gaslighting and pins it all on a mischievous ghost that haunts his room. Surprisingly, they all buy it, and just like that, they sprint off to the after-party. The whole crew finally crowds into one place, laid back and pumped, ready to go feast at some seriously pricey spot with unreal food. Cyrus grabs the mic to toast, blurts out golden, then snaps himself back and tries to stop himself before he embarrasses the one guy. He flips it into a toast to our future, cheers. He tells everyone to keep it low-key because the second they attract too much attention, someone's bound to realize they stumbled onto something valuable. Rook shoots the question, are you worried someone else from your clan will snatch it? And Cyrus just goes, yeah, them too. The real problem is this, he says, Duke Grespo's men are already in town, scouring the place and sniffing out anything tied to the Golden Dragon. The second he blurts out Duke Grespo, the waitress slams their food onto the table and he snaps, shushing everyone on the spot. That name is straight up bad news. Then the food hits, boom, a giant deer steak lands on the table, and for one wild second, everyone forgets the danger completely. Sierra shows them exactly how to eat it, wrapping it in special Rizzo leaves that crank the flavor up to pure delicious. The food here is wildly better than those clan cafeterias, no question about it. The moment they sit down to eat, Rook leans in and demands what's going on with Duke Grespo, then Cyrus lays it out. The three dukedoms in the region have been battling for generations. Their clan, Arnon, runs on serious loyalty with the Schumel family, so if they dare sell dragon hair to the enemy, Duke Grespo, it'll explode into a massive political disaster. Even worse, if Duke Grespo just steps up and demands the item, they can't say no to a noble's order, and that's an instant game over. So yeah, Duke Schumann wouldn't lift a finger to protect them after that, and they'd get crushed from every direction. Rook finally clicks, this world doesn't treat nobles and commoners as equals, and this deal sure as hell isn't some friendly chat. For guys like them, getting dragged into Duke-level drama didn't just risk punishment, it could get them executed. It's a terrifying political minefield. Selling a single item comes down to one brutal rule, where the who and the asterisks land determines everything. To make it even worse, wild, unconfirmed rumors are flying that Duke Grespo's lands are gearing up for war. The golden dragon showing up instantly turned everything into chaos, and until that delivery is finished, they can't say a single thing to anyone. After that brutal conversation, the tension finally breaks and they all head out, only now Seam is totally wasted and he starts rambling about the fairy all over again. Cyrus just stares at Rook and blurts, "Oh no, you broke her." The second she gets drunk, she spirals into rambling, talking nonstop about weird, tangled stuff. Yeah, looks like Rook's about to be stuck with a long, brutal night. Alright, our boys are back in town with a brand new name, so now it's straight up grind time, starting from the very bottom F rank, the absolute trash tier. He got stuck doing boring herb runs and escort jobs because his main op skills are way too broken to use inside the city walls, so yeah, he's gotta rank up and he's gotta do it fast. He slides up to the quest board, snatches one, and then the guild receptionist shoots him the side-eye like, "Wait, so you're the Rook?" Our boy nods and confirms it. Then she spots it, the golden dragon's claw emblem on his gear, and her whole body jolts because there it is, a dragon emblem. Still, it's an F rank. She's scrambling to figure out how this total noob pulls off drip that insane, and our boy just shrugs like, "Yeah, I've got a special connection, how it is," leaving the cat girl completely baffled. She tells him, "Be careful," and just like that, our boy kicks off his F-rank life by diving straight into quests across the city. That night, my dude's on his own side quest, creeping through a creepy underground passage he stumbled on, telling himself the whole ghost thing should have ended, but curiosity hits harder than you'd think. He slides up to an iron door, flings a phantom thief trick with magic, and peeks inside before popping it open. Turns out there's this massive waterway buried under the city, just pouring along beneath everything. Pretty cool, yeah, but it's not the epic dungeon he was dreaming of. The whole exploration wraps up way too quick, kinda a buzzkill, but honestly it still had a vibe. He decides the next step is crystal clear, he's going to get that mysterious ring appraised. Meanwhile, across the world, the real hero party locks eyes with the final boss area. Yep, that's Demon Lord's castle, so they point at the floating fortress of doom and go, "This is it." The whole squad looks crushed like, "Okay, seriously, how do we even get up there? We're gonna have to climb that." Some people are betting everything on an ancient legend that promises there's a hidden route to the top. Yeah, this is a tale so old it's practically ancient history. No cap, they're really betting everything on some folklore that dates back hundreds of years. Their plan is simple: hunt down a hidden village that can summon a sacred beast to launch them forward, like a legendary Uber but way more insane. This hero, pure Chad energy, just shrugs like, "Don't worry, I'll wipe out the Demon Lord," while everyone else is sweating bullets, trembling at the thought of fighting him. They finally stumble onto a village that looks like it was ripped straight out of the history books. An elder suddenly bursts out, eyes wide with shock at the sight of visitors who traveled from so far away. The group's saint steps forward and lays it out, "We've got to reach the Demon Lord's castle just like the hero in the legend." That old dude eyeballs her and blurts, "So you're the saint, huh?" Then he throws in an 8-bet and immediately shuts the world up to start the summoning ritual, and the rest of the party is just standing there like, seriously. So they all whip out their gear and get ready to go. The whole squad stands there dead serious, fully locked in and ready to go. Then the ritual ignites and it turns wild fast. The elder and his crew start chanting nonsense that feels like it's alive. The hero's party is barely holding it together, trying not to crack a smile. And the elder rips his clothes off right there. And my man starts busting out the moves, doing this wild, wacky dance while the ladies chant like crazy. Yeah, this is pure peak content. The hero's party just stands there, watching this fever dream chaos explode in front of them. They're fighting for their lives not to laugh. Yeah, I know, but good luck with that, my guy. Suddenly, a massive summoning circle erupts across the ground, bathing everything in blinding light, and the whole party snaps into shock like, what in the world is happening? But then the elder unleashes a terrifying scream. Sacred beast Kwanlunga erupts into the world. Blinding flash detonates across the sky. And then nothing, the saint just stalls like, wait, because it's the exact same scene from the legend. Right then the old man halts mid-step, stretches his back and groans, "Good, yeah, but my back hurts." Then he throws his hands up like he's been starving for days. "Time to eat, I'm starving." The whole party just stands there, jaws dropped, while the elder starts devouring food like nobody's business. Then they blurt, "Wait, is the ceremony over or what? Why are you guys eating?" The chanters can't stop griping. those ritual chants have their knees aching like crazy. The saint grills the elder about the sacred beast. He just smirks, yeah, I called it. I'm sure it's on the way, so hang tight. They ask how long, and he just blurts out like 7 to 10 days, maybe 10. Then they clock the timeline and get hit with the wildest troll ever, a dancing grandpa. Totally unbelievable. Now back to our real main character rushing to get his ring appraised. The blacksmith just shrugs like, yeah, sure, kid, nobody in this shop can value that, it's impossible. Seriously, turns out appraisal is insanely rare, even rarer than finding a blacksmith in 100. Our boy thought he could just grind this skill up like it's nothing, but nah, that whole dream dies because it's pure RNG from the day you're born. He begs for an intro to someone who might be able to help, an old lady alchemist called Ulk if she's real. The blacksmith confirms Granny Ulk is an alchemist, so now it's all but certain she can crack what those rings do. Then she's got a mountain of experience with magic items. She might spot what's going on even without the fancy formal training. He flat out declares it can't be loaded with a D-rank magic crystal, just look at the ring's tiny size. And he lays down a brutal warning for our boy because when it comes to trust, everything rides on it. A total noob strutting around in expensive gear is basically waving a giant sign that says, "Scam me, lowball me." Our guy finally cracks it. This world isn't a game at all and he's got a mountain of lessons still waiting. So he decides to test the ring's powers for himself, no clue where to begin, so he starts smashing random attempts together, hoping something clicks. He spreads his whole inventory out, staring at it like, why do I still keep all this junk instead of tossing half of it? He slams magic into the purify stone through the ring, then nothing happens. He tests it on a whole pile of random stuff and it still refuses to work. He's absolutely crushed that even his last hope, the sacred stone, did absolutely nothing. He kinda saw it coming, but damn, it still hurts. But as he starts stuffing everything away, boom, something in his bag sparks and zaps him right out of nowhere. He locks in that wild, zapping feeling and knows exactly what it is. Then it slams into him, wait, could that water drop magic book be reacting because the orichalcum ring is calling it? He can't forget flipping through that book a few days back and feeling absolutely nothing. The only thing that's changed from then to now is the ring. He tries it out and the second he yanks the ring off, the link to the magic book vanishes. But it still doesn't explain how * he can suddenly learn those spells. So he guesses it's either an instant learn ability, some kind of magic affinity boost, or a straight-up stat upgrade. He flips open his other magic books and tests the spell again, then his grin fades when he realizes it only teaches the daily life magic, not a single combat spell. So yeah, it's definitely not some learn anything cheat. He's got a rough time knowing he can't use the op weapons and armor yet, but he also gets it because he's still way too weak to handle them. The ring doesn't even twitch into action from magic stones or channeling tricks, so he's convinced it's the real deal, like an artifact straight out of a legend. From his tests, it's crystal clear, the ring is blasting him with a huge stat boost. He's convinced you need a certain amount of INT or MND to learn spells, and this ring is basically shoving him past the learning threshold for those basic ones. Alright, time to put these brand new daily life spells to the real test. He flicks his fingers and hurls water droplets, boom. A flawless water ball materializes in his hands and yep, it actually worked. He kicks into full big brain mode, wondering, was this water conjured from nothing or ripped straight from thin air? So for science, he rips off the ring and tries again, and that was a terrible mistake because his mana spirals out of control instantly. Chaos pauses for a beat, then the nope explodes and splashes everywhere. He realizes his base mind stat is dangerously low, and he needs the ring's boost just to wrestle control of even this basic spell. Next, he tests the other spells. Fire Seeds pops out a tiny flame, but it's a holy white blaze way too flashy for camping. Earth Tilling comes next, but it barely scratches the surface, so he snaps, drops it, and moves on. He cranked down the chair's weight until it felt like nothing at all. It's like nothing changes at all. He's convinced his stats are so low it can't possibly matter. Finally, a soft breeze slipped through. It's barely a breeze, so weak it doesn't even scratch the lowest setting on an electric fan, and his pet fox looks unimpressed. He plops down and goes, man, these spells feel totally useless right now. Then it hits him what that dwarf told him about sweeping cave air clear with a gentle breeze. He starts wondering if this world has miasma like in those video games, and if blasting it away would unleash a cloud of deadly toxic air. Alright, time for round 2. He scoops water into a bowl, then dips his finger in and summons a soft breeze with a flick. Yeah, he was right, this isn't just pushing air around, it's making gas. To figure out exactly what that gas is, he scoops it into a cup, then slaps together the paperwork. Bam, science montage, let's go. He strikes the match and lights the wick. He drops it into the cup, the flame doesn't budge at all. If it were oxygen, the fire would roar brighter, and if it were CO2, it would die out, but nope, it's just normal air. So magic doesn't just move stuff, it summons matter from literally nothing, and now he's stuck on one brutal question. Where does it all go once it's used? He figures the world has to run on some kind of balance system. Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around the fantasy world physics on day 1, my guy. Just then, the message hits. His meeting with the Duke is officially scheduled. It hits in just 3 days, way sooner than anyone expected. Guess those connections really move the needle. Daily, Duke's daughter, basically royalty, throws her chin up and flexes that she can pull strings and make things happen for them. The boy finally clocks it. He should start calling her Lady Dahlia like right now. He snaps into panic the second noble customs get mentioned, and suddenly he's picturing wild nightmare rules, like getting arrested just because he wore the wrong clothes. Or worse, having to march into that room and do a Cossack dance. Yeah, the anxiety hits like a freight train. His friends tell him to just calm down because the Duke knows exactly how adventurers act, and if he keeps his manners, he's going to be just fine. They tell him to wear his usual clothes, but paranoia hits him hard. He's convinced it's a trap. They calm him down, even if a few nobles are so strange they'll start demanding physical examinations. But most of the time, nobles and top-tier adventurers are tied together, like they can't survive without each other, especially after what went down in Zeni. And just like that, our boy devours this info like it's pure gold. So the leaders and the adventurers are trading real benefits with each other, everyone wins, and that's the key detail. Still shaking with nerves the next day, he slips to the training grounds under the cover of secrecy to test his magic, then he goes for earth-tilling again. A tiny lump of dirt pops up and his pet just kicks it away like it's nothing. At that point, he'd be faster grabbing a shovel. He confirms the spell only nudges a tiny bit of soil, unlike those water droplets that seem to conjure something out of nothing, yet he's still totally lost on how any of it could possibly help. Before he heads back, he corners Mimi, the bunny girl, for advice on handling nobles, praying it'll keep him out of any Cossack dancing disasters. At last, the big day crashes in. He links up with the squad. Lucille's right behind him like always, and even though fear's gripping his guts, he forces himself to act smooth. Side by side, the whole party charges out to meet the Duke.